Speaking out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Hello, welcome everyone to the Spotlight. As you heard from Big Dick MLJ, I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is Stephen Jensen. This is the Spotlight. Shout out to Big Dick MLJ. Shout out to Gisberto for the thumbnail on this lovely show here. Jensen, a lot to talk about. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Doing well. We're looking forward to it. We are sponsored today by WrestleRumble.com, so we're going to tell you all about that throughout the show too. Going to give away some free Wrestle Rumble entries before I clock in for the day, or for the shoot job, I should say. So yeah, a lot of good stuff to talk about today. Do we have the overlay today? I just noticed that we got the we just look like we don't have like our Spotlight overlay on right now.
It's on for me.
Is it? Do you guys see that? I just see us on the screen with the. That's funny. For some reason, my streamer was not showing it. Anyway,
I have the overlay on. I was like, huh? It's there.
That's so weird. I wonder if I look on if I watch on Fightful, what it looks like. Anyway, that doesn't even matter. But
what a start we have to this show.
That's so bizarre.
Kai's got apparently Kai doesn't see it. I see. Yeah. Hold on. Let me. All right, now it might be off.
Oh no, we're in front of it. Like there's like some sort of background behind us I can see. Well, actually, that's a different background I can tell.
Oh.
No overlay. Yeah, sure. There we go.
Okay. It was there for me the whole time.
There we go. Okay, cool. Now I feel like the show has started. Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. It showed up on my screen. That's why it threw me off. All right. Well, we got a super chat from Kai who mentioned we didn't have an overlay, but now hopefully we do have an overlay. Kai says, "Good morning, Spotlight. Ready for Lacey Evans and Cody Rhodes to win the Royal Rumble and defend America." I know I am. You excited for Lacey Evans to win the Royal Rumble, Stephen Jensen?
Yeah, I don't see that happening, but I do. I don't think I mentioned this in the interview with Mose, who, by the way, we have John Mosley back in the creator spotlight later on the show. Excuse me. On Saturday, I'm geared up to have the most American day of all time. So Saturday afternoon, I am meeting American hero, Joey Chestnut, aka Jaws, the best eater of all time, the reigning defending undisputed hot dog eating champion on 4th of July, the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I have so much respect for this man. So I'm going to be meeting him on Saturday afternoon and try to get him to sign an American flag for me. And then on that same night, I'm going to go straight from Joey Chestnut to watching the Royal Rumble and watching the roller coaster, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes win the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble. Going to be very American day on Saturday, so I'm very much looking forward to it. Only 2 days away now, right? Yeah, we just have like today and then just a couple days till we're there, so.
The only thing more American would be if Hulk Hogan came out and he found his toilet paper while wiping his ass to real American.
I saw that. Didn't he tweet that on accident? Like that's what it looked like.
I feel like he was like trying to text somebody and then he sent it as a tweet, which was tremendous.
That's what what it seemed like. Anyways, yeah, thanks everyone who's joining us for the show today. We appreciate y'all. Got a lot of good topics today.
Let's get into our AEW spotlight and not give any more attention to our racist.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
Last night, we had the AEW debut, unfortunately, under tough circumstances, of Mark Briscoe, who headlined the show against Jay Lethal. There was, this has been confirmed that the Briscoes could not be on AEW, Warner Brothers, Discovery Television because of past comments made by Jay. We talked about it a little bit last week, and I thought we were pretty harsh but fair on Warner Brothers for their stupid decisions, their bullshit decisions last week when it came to their not including the Briscoes all through last year when Tony had owned ROH. And then last week when there was no real tribute video or anything aired for Jay Briscoe. They righted that wrong last night with a tribute video during the show, and then Mark got to be on the show and headline against Jay Lethal. It was good to see Mark there. It was good to see they were able to honor Jay in some sort of way. Warner Brothers Discovery, it's still bullshit that it took all of this backlash and it took Tony Khan apparently doing whatever he needed to do in a manner that he probably didn't need. He didn't need to fight as hard as he seemingly did to get all of this on television. But good on Tony Khan for going to bat and getting this on TV. And yeah, good to see Mark despite the circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. That was super emotional. It was Jay's birthday yesterday too, wasn't it? So like just the way that things worked out with, kind of wait, this is, given the circumstances, this is probably the best way things could have worked out as far as like the timing for like the tribute show, just with it. Coincidentally, it winds up being on Jay's birthday. Mark is, in a headspace and like, wants to wrestle, because I highly doubt he would wanted to wrestle last week. I mean, it was like, and I wouldn't have mind, obviously it's his decision. If he decided he never wanted to wrestle again ever for the rest of his life, I would have respected that too. I respect his decision to come back when he did. I respect the decision for people to grieve the best way that's going to help them. So like, if this is the best way that Mark's going to get through this, is being in front of the fans and doing his thing in the ring. I mean, we saw last night. I mean, the amount of support he's going to have is going to be tremendous. And it's interesting now because, like, what are they going to do with the ROH tag team titles? What do you do with Mark going forward? Like, how often is Mark going to wrestle? Is he going to go right back to the grind full time? Because if he does, I don't know if you'd agree with this or not. I know there's people out there that will hear me say this, and they'll compare it to, like, Rey Mysterio winning the title at the Royal Rumble. Or sorry, not at the Royal Rumble, winning the Royal Rumble, then going on to win the title WrestleMania all those years ago after Eddie Guerrero passed and stuff. But like, I really think it'd be a good idea to, like, if Mark's going to be there, I would heavily push him and probably put the ROH World title on him. And that has, and part of it is obviously what's going on with Jay and the story there, but the fan support he's going to have. And it's not like Mark is some slouch. Like, Mark was always a great wrestler. It's just Jay was like the world title level guy out of the group, and he was like kind of the chosen one. But Mark, a very credible singles wrestler on his own, an ROH television champion, a guy who's the longest tenured person in Ring of Honor right now. So the fans are going to really want it too. Like, so I could really see a scenario where, like, Mark gets a big push, goes towards the ROH World title or something. And I think that'd be great, because that, in a world of scripted wrestling, that's a big advantage we have here, is like, because if this was, in real, in like a real life sport or whatever, this story would be the same, right? Like, if some athlete out there that was like synonymous with like, or like in UFC would be a good example. If like Nick Diaz passed away, like if Nate Diaz went on a run and won the title, like a big motivation was like, I want to get this win for my brother. Like, I feel like that's a great story. And I think it's a great way to help Mark grieve. It's a great way to keep the fans behind Mark. And the match last night was perfect. It was literally done perfectly. And Jay Lethal was the best opponent because of the history with Jay and Jay Briscoe and everything. So it's like, in the video package, as you said, it was beautiful. So it's like, I really felt like last night they really made a lot of things right. And it really made it kind of seem to me like Mark Briscoe might be just back. And if he's back, I think they need to just heavily push him.
I think Mark might take a little bit of time off after this. I don't know Mark Briscoe. Never met him or anything like that. But it seemed like last night Tony Khan said, like, they both asked for this match, Jay Lethal and Mark Briscoe. They wanted to do this match, so they wanted to face and everything. And I think that it was good for him to be there and be around all the people who can love and support him and everything. There is still, everybody grieves differently, right? But I still think there is a process to go through with that. There's a family that needs to be taken care of and everything. And I feel like Mark will want to be heavily involved with Jay's wife and children. So I think he'll probably take some time off. I imagine he'll be at Supercard in April. That's still a few months away. I don't know what they do with the tag team titles. People have said, do a tournament, some type of memorial tag tourney, crown new champions. Also, maybe like a Jay Briscoe Memorial Cup. I could definitely see something like that happening. As far as Mark is like a singles run, I'm for it. I think it makes a lot of sense. I just don't know. It's tough for me to think about this for two reasons. One is just whatever Mark wants to do is the most important thing. First off, like if he doesn't want to, if he's not ready to return full time, that's completely understandable. If he wants to step away for a little while, that's completely understandable. Two, looking at more of just a pro wrestling scope of it, I don't know what ROH looks like right now because we still don't have any type of like television announcement. We still don't know if they're running weekly, if they're just running shows and stuff. I think if you're gonna do something like, hey, let's elevate Mark Briscoe to a world title run or something like that, you want that journey and that story to be on television. You don't want to just do that as like sort of a one-off thing at like Supercard. Like it'd be a big moment for Supercard, no doubt, but I would want to I would want that to play out a little bit more on television. So I think, whenever that happens, that's when you might want to start piecing that together. But I'm all for it. It makes a lot of sense. Mark has always been a guy who could stand out as a singles person. It's just they didn't really do that. Jay was the guy who they went with for the ROH title, winning it as a singles competitor, which also made sense. But Mark can certainly stand out like that. Regardless, it was just great to see Mark there. It was great to see the support that he had. Look, man, those guys should have been on television all throughout last year. They should have been on television long before that, whether it was, being in Impact or being in AEW or being in WWE. These guys were just kind of made for television wrestling. Their personality. I've been covering a lot of the fallout of this. And they have family friends. Josh Wharton is the guy's name. He goes on Facebook. He's been going on Facebook Live for the past week, just like giving updates on the kids, Gracie and Jaylee, and just how the family is doing. It comes directly from Ashley, Jay's wife. So I've been listening to a lot of that, covering a lot of that and stuff. And I had some locals like just reach out to me and just be like, hey, like, here's kind of what's happening. Like, here's like who the Briscoes were. And we put one of these videos in our update, and I'll actually put the link in the chat right now. But they sent me they sent me local ads that the Briscoes would do for like this spa place. And they are just hilarious. I don't know if you've seen like Mark doing like the weather, like the local weather.
Oh, I've seen like little clips here and there, but yeah, I gotta watch more of that. That's amazing because obviously I love their promos, like their wrestling promos, where Jay would be serious with his eyes locked on the camera, and Mark's drinking a Capri Sun, eating Dunkaroos in the background. You know what I mean? Like these guys are great.
It's so good, and the weather one is great because Mark is just like, I've been struck by lightning before, and he just says it so like deadpan serious. Like, yeah, I totally believe this man has been struck by lightning.
I believe
him
that
doing
as
the
well.
weather is absolutely tremendous. I'm trying to find the DM. I apologize that it's taken me a second. Okay, here we go. Nope, different one. Sorry. But they do these videos for the spa place, and like you could just tell they're having so much fun with it, and just like having a good time. And again, these guys were just, they could do anything. They were very serious in a lot of their promos of like, all right, we're going to hype this match and stuff. But you could see like the comedy elements and everything. It's like, man, these guys should have been on television such a long time ago. And it's a shame that it took this long for Mark and these circumstances for Mark to get on TV. It's an absolute shame because they're so good in ring. They're obviously fantastic in ring, but just as like characters and performers, and they're not even characters, they just play themselves, but like they are so damn good. Here we go. Here's one of the videos I'm posting in the chat right now. This is one of the little spot ads, and if you click on this person's YouTube page, you can watch more of them, but they're hilarious. So it's been very heartwarming to see all the support and love and that Jay Briscoe and his family have received throughout all of this. And I imagine it'll continue. We got the link for the Give Send Go last week, and we didn't know if it was legit or not during our show. The wife just sent it to me and was like, hey, I think this is legit. It seems like it. And we were like, okay, seems like it. And then, come to find out it was, and it's blown up, and it's gotten way past the goal they had met, according to people who would know. Tony Khan is doing what he can for the family and everything. I imagine there's a lot going on that the family is being taken care of that is more than just what we see with the Gifts and Go. They got the shirt that you could get off of AEW shop. 100% of the proceeds go to the family. So fortunately, that the family will be well taken care of. And that is, that is great as well. And Kate saying the Gifts and Go for the other driver that's fully funded. Yes, that is something that was, they talked about, Josh Ward talked about in his videos of like, there's no ill will towards the family of the other driver from the Pugh family. And I think because we are in a wrestling bubble, we kind of forget about the other driver in this. And she had 2 daughters as well. And, now they have to go through a process as well. But from all accounts, like this small town in Delaware, very close-knit community, and just a lot of love and support all throughout the community for the Pugh family and the other family as well. So it's good to see all the support that's happening. Again, it was good to see Mark on TV last night, and whatever he wants to do moving forward. If he wants to be a regular, great. If he wants to take time off, that's more power to him for that. Like whatever he wants to do moving forward, I think we should all support that.
Yeah, absolutely. If he never wants to wrestle again, I get that too. That's just he wants that to be it. Whatever he wants to do, he absolutely deserves that. And it was cool last night for so many reasons, and him winning the match with the J Driller was just perfect. The froggy bow to the outside through the table was great. I mean, like, great match, and I think it was just all done really perfectly. And I'll just say this. I said it before. Just to the wrestling community, people in general, but like the wrestling community too. I'm talking about this specifically. I think we collectively, because here's the thing with the Warner Brothers keeping them off TV stuff. To me, and I don't know anything. Like this is just a straight guess. I have no clue. But to me, it seems like there was like a specific person that had a problem with them. It's just how it feels like to me. Like, yeah. I can't imagine, you know what I mean? I can't imagine like that many people collectively all being on the same page. And like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there was like maybe one or two people that was really, they were the roadblock here. And I think that just in general, we all as a wrestling community need to get, we need to kind of recalibrate, in my opinion, how we treat people, depending on, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. The reason I say this is because it's so sad. The saddest thing about this is Jay passing, obviously, that goes without saying. But as you said earlier, these guys should have been on TV this whole time. So it's like, Jay should have had his flowers while he was alive. Like, he should have been able to enjoy the fans should have been able to enjoy him. Millions and millions of people every week on TBS and TNT. Like, and so it's sad that like now they're letting this happen on television but it's incredible that they've done it. Like, I'm not, and this is kind of to my point, is they did change their mind. Something changed, and Tony Khan was able to get this on television. I just wish they would have listened to that so much earlier when he was still here. Anyways, yeah, and him, and you mentioning their small town in Delaware and stuff, dude, it's possible those might have been the only 2 cars on the road. You know what I mean? It's just like this is like just the most tragic, unfortunate, and I don't know what the circumstance of the other driver was. You know what I mean? And it's really good to know that the Pugh family doesn't hold ill will against them, and they're included in the donations and stuff. Like, that's huge. I think especially for the wrestling community, I think the wrestling fans need to know this, because I know that sometimes wrestling fans can, be a little extreme. Know that their family is okay with the other family. I mean, that's a very important thing to know. And obviously no one wants to place blame. No one wants to die over something. This is not a good situation for literally anybody involved. So like, I just want to throw that out there too, that just be safe out there. But just driving around, just being out there as a civilian. I mean, like I said, it's very possible the two cars that had this tragic accident, they might have been the only two cars on the road, and who knows the reason why they ran into each other. There's a lot of different things that could happen. It's we're all taking risks out there, just being out there in the world. So just be out there, be careful, and just be appreciative of every day that you're living, because you just never know. It's wild, man. It's made me think a lot. I mean, Jay dying has made me think a lot this past couple of weeks about a lot of stuff like that. So
it's very sobering for all of us, I think, because we found out we were recording an interview when we found out about it, and you can kind of see the look on our faces. Like, you can watch our reactions real time when we find out about this news, and like Jensen said last week, is like we try to power through, get through the rest of the interview, and give you guys the content that we can be proud of, and we feel everyone deserves. And we had Alec Price on when everything happened, and we want to make sure we're fair to him as well. But yeah, especially like when we were done with that and just taking a moment to really take it all in, and now all the fallout and everything, it's been very, very difficult. I think for a lot of people. And like you said, like, hopefully it sucks that it takes stuff like this for all of us to just come together. And I really hope it just continues. I hope we continue to just treat each other well and realize that how precious things are. But like, I'm also not super naive to think that it's going to change much, because we kind of thought these same things when Brody passed away, and like, it for a little while things are great, and then we all just become dicks again, and it's very unfortunate.
It happens in real life too, man. I mean, remember how united we were after 9/11, and like, look at like where we're at now, like with like everyone just fighting each other all the time and political views all over, and it's like, it's just great, right? It's great, but like, obviously no one wanted 9/11 to happen. That's like the worst thing that's like ever happened in American history. But like, the fallout of that was everybody joining together for a very short time. And it was like something unlike I'd ever really seen before, the country all coming together. And then, before you know it, we're all dicks to each other again. You know what I mean? And we're causing our own issues amongst each other. It's like, other countries don't even need to fight us. We're all fighting each other. You know how crazy that is? Like, we need to figure, it isn't just, this extends far beyond a wrestling issue. It's just one of those things where like, we see it so often in the wrestling space because the wrestling community is constantly divided depending on what you're a fan of or whatever. So it's like, I don't know. I completely agree with you. I feel the same exact way. I hope that we can take this tragedy of Jay Briscoe. We're all together. We all feel like we're on the same page. Like, let's just keep moving forward positively. WrestleMania is around the corner. I think WWE sucks. I made that really clear. But hell, I'm here for WrestleMania season. Let's go. Let's have a fun Royal Rumble. Let's have a fun WrestleMania. Fun road to WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit here and talk trash about the WWE. I never really do. I just don't really like to watch it anymore. But like, right now, I'm with y'all. Let's do this. So yeah, it's I'm interested to see what Mark does going forward. But once again, I respect any decision he's got, whether it's wrestling full time again, whether it's taking time off, whether it's never wrestling again. We got a beautiful tribute to his brother Jay last night, and I'm very happy that we got to see that on AEW television. That was huge.
Let me catch up on some super chats. Kate says, thoughts on Memorial Tag Tournament. Also, when we're meeting up before Tyrus' comedy show, you both rule. We talked about, but the Memorial Tag Tournament I think would be a great idea. Yeah. That's something they want to do. And as far as Tyrus' comedy show, I will not be at NWA. Enough said, so I won't be going to Tyrus' comedy show. Mike from Indeed, it says, good morning to both of you. Jay Briscoe forever. Hey, Indeed is going to be on Fightful Overbooked starting next week with Mike and Righteous Reg talking the world of independent wrestling. That'll be Thursday, a week from today, on Fightful Overbooked. So everyone can go over there and check out the new show that we got going on over there.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to my AEW spotlight, and that is the AEW Women's Division. So last night we had Toni Storm against Ruby Soho. Britt Baker was originally in the match. She got pulled due to injury. And then, but she still came out in the middle of the match as the great musical distraction gimmick that wrestling companies seem to love. And then it led to Ruby picking up the victory. So the seeds were kind of planted for all of this homegrown versus outsiders thing. Really, when Saraya cut her first promo and told Britt Baker, you ain't accomplished shit. Like, you haven't been to the Tokyo Dome. You haven't been to Madison Square Garden and all of these things. And it's kind of like, yeah, you haven't really done anything in this business despite being AEW World Champion and headlining AEW shows and things like that. That doesn't matter. And then Saraya, the heelish elements were there. We talked about how there was sort of a disconnect with that promo. And then so they decided to really lean into it these past couple of weeks with Tony and Saraya kind of talking bad about the originals, Akira Shida, being like, what the fuck is wrong with you women? And then last week we had the turn, more essentially, where Saraya and Tony attacked Willow. Ruby made the save. They're setting up, they've basically set up Homegrown versus Invaders, potentially Blood and Guts, potentially. What are your thoughts on where they're headed with all of this, Jensen?
Man, I'm loving this ECW Originals versus New Blood storyline. I'm fine with. I like the idea of this going to Blood and Guts. Like, I think that they should do that. I don't know.
When does Britt Baker just toss Saraya into a dumpster? When does that happen?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like, where does all of it? Where's it kind of all this leading to? Here's the thing. Let's get to Blood and Guts first, because I think that'll be really good. I like all the women involved in this, and we've seen the idea of this story kind of brewing for a while. I don't know if we even talked about the Ruby Riott, like the death match that she had recently that everyone online was going nuts over. Or very polarized over. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have a lot of thoughts on it, to be completely honest. Like, it's a storyline that I feel like we all saw coming for a while. And
okay, well, let me ask you this then. So Saraya comes in, and we talked about her potential impact in there, and she came in there like ready to let's lead an AEW women's revolution, sort of like how she did with WWE, and she wanted to change the game and stuff. But that wasn't really where AEW was at. It was a little bit like lack of TV time for the women, especially compared to the men, but like they got time to do matches and everything. They'd headlined television events and everything. They were getting women on television. They weren't doing 3-minute matches like the Divas were at that time. Then Saraya came in there. Like, her first promo, again, was very polarizing. It didn't seem to really fit everything. Like, how do you think they did with pivoting with all of that instead? Because this should have been a big comeback for Saraya. She's cleared. She's wrestling. Here we go. And then it wasn't. Like, people kind of turned against her immediately with that promo, and now we're siding with Britt. How do you think Ruby fits in? Because Ruby is sort of an outsider on this. It's not like she's AEW homegrown. I guess, she's gotten good opportunities in AEW, but people still know her as Ruby Riott and everything. Mm-hmm. And who do you see on which team here? Because they have the women, but who's going to be on Team Outsiders? Who's going to be on Team Homegrown?
So, to answer your first question, it was interesting to see kind of the way that Saraya, I think it was smart how they pivoted with her, first of all, because if they wouldn't have, she was going to start getting booed anyways. And that's not even really her fault. It's just, there's certain things, I can't even put my finger on it, honestly. There's certain things in wrestling where, like, you just kind of see it and feel it as it's happening. And there was something just off about these promos Saraya was cutting, because it did make it feel, it was similar to when CM Punk started talking about, the dumb fuck Adam Page or whatever he called him, and was talking about how he hasn't accomplished anything in wrestling, and he's sitting there as the former AEW World Champion, headlined a whole bunch of shows, so on and so forth, similar to what you're talking about, with Saraya talking about, Britt Baker and the women of AEW who obviously accomplished a lot within AEW. And it isn't a good look unless you want to be a heel. It isn't a good look to come into AEW and and relay to the fans that you feel like now you're somewhere that's below where you were previously. Like, because that's just not a good look for anybody. Unless, once again, the idea is you want to get booed. And that was kind of the vibe I got from Saraya almost from the beginning. Like, she came in real babyface type promo and everything, but as far as like how like the teams are gonna side, I think Ruby's gonna wind up with the like the outsiders, like the WWE crew.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, eventually, because I don't know, like I think because she came out, she saved Tony last week, right? Or this
She said Willow. She said Willow.
Sorry, saved Willow. That's right. Because you'll have like Willow's obviously gonna be an AEW original. Tony's an AEW. Well, actually, no, Tony's gonna be. See that's what makes it confusing. Is like I think Tony Storm original, or sorry, not original. Tony Storm, AEW. Jesus, Tony Storm WWE. I'm just gonna call it WWE or AEW. Tony Storm WWE, Ruby Soho WWE, Britt Baker AEW, Jamie Hayter AEW, Willow AEW, Sheeta. See, that's the thing. Sheeta would make more sense on the heel team, on like the WWE team, but it wouldn't make any sense for her to actually be on that team.
Sheeta's got to be AEW.
Right. I'm just saying that's what's confusing, but also interesting to me about this story is the lines and the sides I don't think have been, really carved yet. There is still some guessing going on. So like Mike from Indeed in the chat, he says Britt, Jamie, Willow, Sheeta, and Statlander as the OGs. Yeah, I mean that's and Statlander, is there any word on when she should be back? Is that out there?
There hasn't been like an official update on her, but it seems like she's relatively close.
Okay, and I mean I'm a huge Statlander fan. I was a longtime supporter of her on the Indies, especially through companies like Beyond, pre AEW, and if she can. I know she's had a string of injuries, but if she can stay healthy, she can be so big for that company. And you could tell that they have big, like, I think there's a good chance she might have already beaten Jade Cargill for the TBS title at this point if she was healthy. Like, I feel like she was going to be the person to do that. Just my this gut feeling. The outsiders, Saraya, Tony Storm, Ruby Soho, Athena, and then if Mercedes comes in. I think that's a big if too. I think Mercedes eventually will do something on AEW, but I don't know if she'll be like a regular there. Maybe it'll be a couple big things or one big appearance or something. I don't know. But I think that makes sense. I'd say, yeah, Britt, Jamie, Willow, and Sheeta, and Statlander, and then Saraya, if Statlander's back, and then Saraya, Tony, Ruby, Athena, and then Mercedes if she comes in. And then you could always, if you need someone else from the Outsiders team, like if you can't get Mercedes or something, there's plenty of former WWE women's talent that you could sign short term or whatever to get to a war game or to get to a blood and guts match.
I'm interested to see how Thunder Rosa fits in on this because, before everything that happened, this was August that everything happened with her. Before all that, like she was the women's division. She was the champion, right? And she was one of the top stars alongside Britt. Like she helped cultivate what the women's division is and what it eventually became in AEW. I'm interested to see if she's back where she fits in because it seems like easily she's part of the homegrown talent easily, but because her issues with Britt that seem to be on screen and maybe a little bit even off screen as well, like does she feel more she's like an outsider with everything? And does she feel like, hey, I'm not being treated like I don't get the flowers that Britt Baker gets. Everybody remembers Britt with her bloody nose and everything. Like nobody remembers me from that match. Nobody remembers that I beat Britt to end that reign in the cage match and everything. Like doesn't seem like she has a case for disrespect on this, and she could be part of the Outsiders group, even if she is like 100% like more looked at as a homegrown person.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, it would make a lot more sense on paper if she was with the homegrown. She had a long career pre AEW, but she was never in WWE, and that's to me that's what the line is for the story is like.
Right.
Not just that you had a career outside of it. I mean, all of these people had some sort of career outside of AEW, but Yeah, I feel like if Thunder Rosa comes back in, she's got to be seen as an original. The only thing that the only loophole they could kind of use is like when she started in AEW, she was still with the National Wrestling Alliance, and they could maybe be like she was always an outsider kind of thing. But like even then that feels like a stretch. But based on the actual people involved, it would make sense for her to want to go want to team with the WWE side because she has enemies on the original side. But I feel like if she's going to be involved in this, I feel like she's got to be on the original side, Thunder Rosa.
I think she's more going to be leaning towards the outsider side just because for the reasons that I mentioned. And look, I don't suspect they're getting Mercedes, by the way. I'm kind of, my expectations are very much lowered on that. I definitely don't think that's going to happen. Kai, good shout with Riho. I always need more Riho on my television. She fucking rules, and I need her to have a consistent presence on the show.
You know who else fucking rules that we haven't seen in a while? And I don't know what her injury status is, but I miss Layla Hirsch. Like
she's been out for a very long time.
She has, but she's another one that like if she can stay kind of injury free when she gets back, like they have a lot of kind of under the radar in the grand scheme of things, like women that are ready to break out, but they've been getting injured. Like Statlander and Layla Hirsch, I think are two, potential long-term stars for them. You just gotta, and that's something, once again, it's professional wrestling. This kind of stuff's going to happen. I mean, we're going to talk about Cody Rhodes here in a second. The dude had he was out for what, almost a whole year. I mean, not a whole, but pretty damn close, at least like 8-9 months or whatever by the time he comes back. And so there's stuff happens. But I really, I don't know. You've made me more interested in all of this by talking about it and really like dissecting
Tony Khan.
Right there. Well, because like as I'm watching it on TV, I'm just kind of like, okay, like let's pick sides here and let's go. You know what I mean? Because like I like everyone involved in this. I just kind of want to know a little bit more about where it's going. But I really like to answer kind of one of your original questions. I think it was very, very smart for them to turn Saraya like immediately. I don't think it, and they also kind of got to learn from when they had Cody, like when they wouldn't turn him heel. I think that was a big problem, and it's like sometimes when when it's the right idea, a lot of times just to make these kind of changes, and they did it quick with Saraya. I think that was smart. So
let's go to our WWE spotlight, Jensen.
You want to be a professional wrestler, or do you want to be a WWE superstar? WWE superstar sounds a whole lot better to me than being a professional wrestler.
The Royal Rumble is on Saturday. Everyone seems to enjoy the Royal Rumble. And you know who enjoys the Royal Rumble, Stephen Jensen? Our pals over at Wrestle Rumble. They'll be celebrating their 10-year anniversary of doing this shit for the Royal Rumble Pick'em. We had Matt on the show last year to talk about the history of Wrestle Rumble and everything like that. If you are watching on YouTube, you can check the description of this video, and the link to our interview with Matt, if you want to learn more about Wrestle Rumble, is below. And Wrestle Rumble is the sponsor of the show today, and I'm going to let Stephen Jensen tell you more about that.
Well, there you go. We have the Royal Rumble Pick'em contest. As Jeremy said, this is the 10th year that they've done this at Wrestle Rumble. They went all out for the Pick'em contest, and they have some belt giveaways also going on. Huge stuff this weekend over there at WrestleRumble.com. If you haven't ever played Wrestle Rumble before, the way the Pick'em contests work, it's very simple. It's funny, I'm seeing like half our faces like converge to make one face. So the way that this works is pretty straightforward. You're going to fill out essentially a questionnaire. It's going to have a bunch of multiple choice answers, and you're going to have things, winners and losers of matches. A lot of the time there will be something about like the lengths of the matches, like guessing the times of how long they'll go. Miscellaneous questions, sometimes about tables being broken or run-ins or those kind of things. In the Royal Rumble, I'm sure we'll have questions about entry numbers and stuff like that, like who's going to win from what number and those kind of things. So it's a lot of fun. It makes, especially if you're like me, I really only watch the WWE premium live events at this point. I very rarely ever tune in for Raw or SmackDown. But I stay heavily invested in what's going on because I want to win money on Wrestle Rumble. And I've won one contest ever. I've played every single month that they've done this for probably like 5 years now. And I won one time. It was the NXT TakeOver New Orleans contest when the main event was Ciampa and Gargano. Same show that had the ladder match for the North American Championship, the multi-man ladder match. I won that thing. They sent me a replica NXT Championship belt. It showed up within like 3 days of me winning. So like the prizes are real. the money is real. The people are great over there. Shout out to Matt once again from Wrestle Rumble. He's the man. Longtime friend of both of ours. So it was really cool to get him as a part of the show today. And the winner for the Royal Rumble Pick'em contest is going to literally get $1,000 sent to them. No joke, $1,000 cash. Boom, for being a fan of professional wrestling. Do you have the graphics for the belt giveaways? Awesome.
Bam.
So Jeremy's on top of it. So for $1 and $1 entry, and you can put as many entries as you want. I don't know what the limit is for how much money you can put in for entries, but let's just say you put in $1. You got a shot at any of these three. You put in $3, you might win all three. Who knows? But they are giving away title belts. The Straight Rumbling contest is going to be giving away a Macho Man Legacy belt, a WCW United States Championship belt, and a Brock Lesnar Signature Series belt. These are all the full-size real deal title belts. These things cost like $400 or whatever. They are not cheap. These are as legit as it gets without being like the actual world champion of one of these companies. And the signature belts are badass. The Macho Man and the Brock, and then of course the classic WCW United States Championship. So once again, $1 entry gets you a possible title belt there, and you put in $3, you might win all three. And then the next one, please, Jeremy.
Boom.
And then the other contest they still have open. There's one that's already closed that it went so fast that, so you got to get on these quick. There's a lot of people. This one's still open as well. We have the Mini Mayhem. Belt giveaway, and that is going to be giving away like groups of mini title belts. So someone's going to win a mini Winged Eagle collection. Someone's going to win a Smoking Skull Brahma Bowl belt and a Edge Spinner title belt. And then someone else is going to win an NWO style with like the spray paint, an old school Intercontinental, and a $1 million title. All those are like the mini versions, which are badass because like they look like the real ones, but they're like a fraction of the size. And you might be thinking, oh, that's kind of lame. Like I want a real one. These are actually awesome for like displays, especially if you have like an office or something. Or, you don't have a whole lot of room for like the full size belts are huge. They're incredible, but they take up a lot of space. These you can put, they would look great in a display for like an office or like a fig setup or something like that. So yeah, get in on that. This one's only $1 also. So $3, you might win all these titles. Get over there at WrestleRumble.com. And me and Jeremy are going to give away 3 free entries today for the Wrestle Rumble Royal Rumble Pick'em contest. It's going to work really simple. At the end of the show, or before I go in to clock in for work, right around 11, probably around 10:55 Eastern time. So in about 40 minutes, we're going to do something where we're going to have you all type something in the chat, and we're going to pick 3 people, and you're going to get a free entry for the Royal Rumble Pick'em contest, courtesy of WrestleRumble.com, with a chance to win $1,000. So thank you once again to Wrestle Rumble and Matt and all of our friends over there for helping sponsor the show today. We really appreciate you.
Guys, leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. That's all you got to do. Just put Wrestle Rumble in the chat. And then, as Jensen said, right before our interview, I will put them all in a randomizer. And then it'll pick 3 names. And those 3 names will be entered into the contest. It is that simple. Just put Wrestle Rumble in the chat, and you will be entered into the random drawing to be entered into the random drawing. It's like Tony Khan with his announcements about an announcement about an announcement.
We're basically giving you a free $10. We're giving you. Wrestle Rumble is going to send you a link to the contest. There's nothing you'll actually have to do. No money exchange, no credit card information, nothing. We send you a link. You get to fill it out for free. But it's valued at $10 per entry. So basically, we're going to give someone $10 free to try to win 1,000. And we're going to do that 3 times tonight. So as you can see, like Merkel Maniac in the chat, he already typed Wrestle Rumble. He'll be on the list at the end of the show. We're going to pick off that list, 3 names. So simple.
Let's get into the Royal Rumble. We know Cody Rhodes is winning the men's Royal Rumble. We don't really need to talk much about that. Jensen, who is winning the women's Royal Rumble? Who is your pick here? Because I got to say, I ain't too excited for this thing. They ain't sold me on this women's Royal Rumble. We got 7 women in this match. It's going to be nothing but surprises, I guess. And we had a super chat earlier. Cody Willis says, do any Impact knockouts enter the Royal Rumble besides Mickey? I don't know if Mickey's going to be there. I could certainly see it. Maybe Taya, Frankie Monet, maybe she shows up. I could see that one as well. They got 7 women announced. It's going to be nothing but surprises.
Yes. Really quickly, you're going to see me wearing the same hoodie in the interview because it's Cody Rhodes week, baby. I'm wearing that. This hoodie's not coming off all week. Let's go. I'm going to meet Joey Chestnut on Saturday in this hoodie. I've also got the return figure, the first Cody Rhodes return since he's been back. WWE action figure right here just came another day, right in time for the Rumble. His Elite figure just came at ringside also, so I pre-ordered that. That'll be coming in soon. Already pre-ordered his Ultimate figure as well. That's coming out later this year. So all the Cody Rhodes merch is starting to roll out right around WrestleMania, and obviously he is my pick to win the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble. For the women, honestly, and this has a lot to do with the fact that I just don't watch it often enough. And to answer the question, I don't want to forget about this. Mickie James, I could definitely see as a possibility again. I think it'd be really funny I'd imagine they'd announce her as the Knockouts Women Champion or the Impact Knockouts Champion again, like they did last year. And most of the WWE audience is just going to think she never lost the title for the last year because like she was the champion last year. This time she's the champion again, but they're not going to know about like the Jordan Grace run or anything probably in between. Which is a shame, by the way, because Jordan Grace is world class, one of the best wrestlers living today. I would love to see Jordan in the Rumble, but I don't think that'll happen. I'd love to see Marshall Slamovich in the Rumble. Don't think it'll happen, but I do think there's a good chance we see Mickie again. I think that's a very good possibility. Just gut feeling, reckless speculation. No reporting or anything, just a complete guess. When it comes to the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, my default, honestly, is just kind of like I looked at the list of who's been announced so far, and I look at the champions, and we have Bianca Belair, who I think has done a fantastic job as the Raw Women's Champion. We have Charlotte Flair, who, in my opinion, and this is going to be controversial to say, is potentially in my opinion, the greatest female WWE wrestler of all time. Like I think, like for WWE specifically, it's hard for me to top Charlotte as far as like the accomplishments, the in-ring, the lineage, all kind of everything that makes Charlotte the queen of the WWE. There's obviously cases you can make for people like Trish Stratus and Lita and stuff as well. Like I know there's cases you can make for sure for others, but my point is you have 2 great champions in my opinion right now in Charlotte and Bianca. I don't know what Ronda's doing. I thought that they were going to go towards her and Becky is what I felt like, but maybe like all the steam is out of that at this point. Like people don't care. My thing is, it's just kind of glaring to me. Becky's not a champion, but she's active, she's healthy, and she's wrestling. So that's just kind of my default is like, I think Becky's going to win the Royal Rumble just because she's a huge star for them. And she's going to need something big going into WrestleMania. I'd imagine she'll go towards the world title. If they could, I'm not advocating for this, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the titles wound up on Ronda again before WrestleMania, and that's how they got to Ronda and Becky, and it was for the title. I'm not saying they should do that. I'm just saying, like, I felt like they were going to go with Ronda and Becky, but now I'm also like, Becky should probably just win the Royal Rumble.
That's so cold at this point. Like it's very good. I feel like if they were going to set that up, they probably already should have tried that. It's so cool.
Well, they should have done it like 2 WrestleManias ago.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I think Ronda will probably find the way in the Rumble again. 7 women have been announced. Becky hasn't even been like announced for this thing. So
yeah,
I imagine she's in it. She's a good choice. Rhea is who it seems like that's who they push the most. So it seems like she will be the winner. Rhea is my pick. Becky is a good choice. My outside the box, I don't know if it's outside the box. My pick that'll piss everybody off is Charlotte Flair wins the Rumble, goes on to face Bianca at WrestleMania, beats Bianca at WrestleMania. Two title Charlotte, little Roman Reigns of the women's division. I think that's what could very much happen if Triple H decides he just wants to burn everything down, which would be hilarious. Go for it. I think it popped me. Be funny for me.
Listen, I like Bianca a lot, but I also like the idea of them doing that with Charlotte, to be honest. So.
I actually can't stand that idea. It'd be very stupid. I would just, as someone who doesn't get invested in this stuff and just wants to see like hilarious things happen, Charlotte 2 belts is a good way to go for me. So I mean, I don't care that much.
Well,
hashtag bow down.
Right? I tune in for this product like 12 times a year. So it's like, but I mean, especially if things go the way that I hope they go, and we also get Cody 2 belts by the end of WrestleMania. If that's what the current landscape of the WWE looks like, is Charlotte with both women's belts and Cody with both men's belts, who has 2 thumbs and going to start watching WWE more often again? So.
Charlotte and Cody taking the Charlotte and Moxley, or Cody and Moxley backstage photo. They got all 4 of their titles after WrestleMania, just flipping off the camera, like right here. We're WWE holding all the gold right here, baby. Rhea's my pick. Becky's a good shout. Charlotte, if you want to watch the world burn. I think Naomi returns. I think we get Asuka different. We kind of get Kana kind of coming in, and she kind of makes a big run in the Rumble with a bunch of eliminations and stuff too. We'll probably get a lot of NXT women. I expect a lot of NXT women in this Rumble because they haven't announced anybody else.
Riddle me this one, Jeremy. Do you think it would be a good idea, a bad idea? Because I have my own opinion. I'll give you my thoughts in a second. Brandy Rhodes, Women's Royal Rumble.
Like winning it?
No, just being in it.
Oh, sure. That's a fine idea. I don't see the issue with that. Why would that be bad?
I have concerns because
why?
I don't want anything to happen for them to potentially get cold feet on Cody. And when she returned to AEW, that hurt him. Straight up, like when she came back and she was like squared up with Malachi Black and stuff, and he got booed out of the building. The last thing the AEW fans said to her was like "fuck you, Brandy" or whatever it was. It was bad.
Well, and they don't understand great television.
Hold on, wait, great. Are we calling Brandy Rhodes great television? I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brandy Rhodes fucking rules.
Okay. See,
this ain't open mic night, bitch.
We actually disagree about that. So I love Brandy Rhodes as a human being. I was never a big fan of her on the show. But I could listen. I think it'd be a cool moment for her to show up at the Royal Rumble, because I think it'd be just really interesting to see how the fans reacted and just to see how she reacts. And just I think the internet would go nuts over it. But I really wouldn't pair Cody with Brandy again. Like maybe if it's a one-off thing where it's just Brandy at the Rumble. But do you really think she would just come in just one time and like Cody wouldn't want to run more than that? I don't know. It concerns me.
I do think she would just come in and do a Rumble spot and that'd be it. I legitimately think she would do that. So
Kai said when she returns in the men's and helps Cody win, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That'll get Cody booed. Like the last thing we need is Cody getting booed. Like we don't want to give them any reason to pivot from Cody to somebody else for WrestleMania. Like, and that's what I'm.
Brandy comes and helps. Brandy comes and helps Cody at WrestleMania against Roman. Takes out Solo. Takes out the Usos. Just Brandy takes them all out. Oh my gosh. And then Brandy and Cody standing tall to close WrestleMania. The big hug, the big kiss. They can redo their wedding. On an episode of Raw to pop the ratings.
Listen, I want to make it clear. I love Brandy as a human being. Obviously Cody's, I'm a massive supporter. I don't think it would be smart to have Brandy and Cody reunite on WWE TV until at least after he wins the title. But I think that I think it'd be a moment for sure if Brandy, entered the Royal Rumble. But So I let me put it this way: what would you put the percentage at? Like, what percentage do you think it is that Brandy will enter the Women's Royal Rumble?
I actually think it's kind of high. And I do
So
think if she enters, it's going to be a one-off. I don't think they have any plans of, and I don't know if she has any plans of being like full-time performer, and certainly not being paired with Cody in any type of way. I think it'll be a one-off if she does. I'll put it like 60%. I think she'll be in the Rumble as just a little appearance. But that's it. I think it's Rumble appearance, and then she's back to being a mom and probably doing some like behind the scenes stuff with like Culture City and everything she does there. But it should lead to Brandy and Cody on television. Just we should do the Stephanie and the McMahon Helmsley era all over again with Cody Rhodes. It'd be great, Jensen. Everyone loves that.
Listen, all of these ideas actually aren't bad ideas if you're okay with him being a heel or getting booed. That's once again that's the concern, especially when you got guys like Sami Zayn, who the fans are getting really, really behind, and everyone now is like, pivot. Sami should be the one to beat Roman. Let's go with Sami. And I'm like, do not give the WWE any reason to go with Sami now. Listen, I love Sami Zayn, but if Cody comes back after this injury with this buildup, and they give them any reason, he starts getting booed for any reason, they start chanting like Sami Zayn during Cody Rhodes matches or something, like that's a big problem for me. Okay, so like, I think adding Brandy to that is just like fire on the flames. Unless you're okay with him getting booed and you've changed plans. But like, but here's the thing: what you just said, I'm totally fine with that scenario. If Brandy comes in, does the Royal Rumble, it's a one-off type thing, and then it's just back to Cody doing his thing as a singles guy. And then listen, if they want to bring Brandy in later, I'm more than fine with that. I got to get to Cody as the world champion, and then do whatever you want. But like, just don't give us, just do not screw this up. Please do not screw this up. Don't ruin this for me.
Sami should win, actually. He was so good at this. This is my WWE spotlight. He was so good at the trial on Monday. What a fantastic segment that was. I know some people got a little mad that it went long. I didn't mind that it went long. It sucked that the women, the cage match got cut and got turned into an angle. That's a whole different story that shouldn't have happened. They should have figured something else out. I understand they have TV breaks and ads and everything they got to place, and it seemed like, okay, well, this is the only thing we can kind of do, and it's better than doing a 2-minute match and then doing the angle. I do think it's much better to just go straight to the angle instead of, hey, Bayley loses in 2 minutes and then do the angle. Just cut that part out. But it was still bullshit. If they could, they should have figured out a way to rearrange it, to cut cut Theory and Lashley down. Nobody needed to see that for 10 minutes just to get to that finish. Cut the old guys out of there for a little bit too. Regardless, hopefully they do a make good on that. As far as the trial of Sami Zayn, though, everyone was so great in this. Paul Heyman, we praised him last week. He was so good. He actually got legit mic time, not just his background stuff was great here, but like just remembering how good Paul Heyman is on the mic. Roman, Solo, the Uso, man, when Jay got up to save Sammy, when he said I love you, oh man, just great professional wrestling right here, great sports entertainment right here. Loved it.
Yeah, I completely agree. When Solo went up to hit him with that Umaga Samoan spike, and then Jay got in there and hooked his arm so he couldn't hit him with it. I was like, it's so fascinating. And by the way, I know I just said, I watched WWE like just for the premium live events. I did watch Raw all the way through for the first time since the Raw after WrestleMania for Raw 30. So I do have knowledge about the show from this past week from start to finish. Obviously the most interesting or intriguing part of this story, at least to me, is Jey Uso, because he was the one who wanted nothing to do with this guy. He was the one keeping him out. He was the one who was always suspicious. He was the one who literally overheard Sami Zayn like talking with Kevin Owens and stuff. He's known something's up this whole time, but now he's the one saving Sami Zayn's ass. And also it's interesting because now Heyman has just come out and just admitted He doesn't like Sami Zayn, doesn't want him as a part of this, like never trusted him. So like now you have this dynamic of like Heyman has made it clear he wants him out. Jay's saving his ass. Jimmy is just kind of on whatever side. Jimmy's just he's always been cool with Sami. So Jimmy just kind of like neutral, it feels like, but wants well for Sami. Solo is just ready to snap. He's just like, give me the word, I'm ready to kill this dude. You know what I mean? So like Solo's just ready to snap. But even his progression's been interesting because I feel like he went from liking Sami to knowing something that the others don't know, or being told by Roman like behind the scenes, like we're gonna get this guy. I'm just waiting on the moment. Just when I give you the word, like you know what to do. So this is kind of how it all feels to me. It's one of those things where like, does Sami eventually, is he the one who actually does outsmart the bloodline, and like he's the one who gets the first big shot on Roman, to start this, or is Jay going to be the one to really break his heart now? Like he's convinced us all that like Jay is the only one on his side and he's going to be the one, because that's what I thought was going to happen at the trial. Was Solo had his thumb up, Jay stops him, and then I thought Jay was going to be like, oh no, man, I've been waiting way too long. Like I got first on this. And like, I thought he was going to super kick Sami, but no, he saved him. And listen, if I wasn't the biggest Cody Rhodes fan in the world, I'd be with y'all. Sami Zayn, like they've done a fantastic job with this dude. I'm not going to sit here and I'm no cap, as the kids would say, right? Like I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Sami Zayn shouldn't get a massive push. I'm not going to sit here and say it would make sense for Sami Zayn to be the guy to beat Roman Reigns based on the story. It just can't happen because Cody exists, and it has to be Cody. But dude, Sami Zayn coming out of this feud, if he comes out of this, him and Kevin Owens winning the World Tag Team titles at WrestleMania, you can always circle back to more stuff with him and Bloodline members, him and Roman Reigns. And listen, Cody's going to need challengers. Listen, I mean, I'm just saying, Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn for the world title is that'd be fire, So like, there's a lot of good possibilities, but like this Sami Zayn and Bloodline feud has been absolutely fantastic. And I am very, very interested to see, because WrestleMania is soon. Royal Rumble's obviously this weekend. They don't have a whole lot of time to like make this turn happen and get us to WrestleMania. So I feel like something's going to be happening. Something big's going to happen really soon. It feels like.
Well, Sammy's got his final test.
That's right.
On Saturday, and you got to think he's getting involved with Roman and KO during their match. It's somehow that's the easy theory there, that he's going to be involved in that. If Sammy's in the Rumble, does it become a thing of like he needs to be eliminated by Solo? Like it comes down to, hey, Sammy, like, go out, Solo's winning this thing. And then Sammy's like, nope, not doing that. And so Sami takes out Solo. And so that's how kind of the turn happens, type of thing. I got to say, Jensen, I love your love and admiration for Cody Rhodes. Sammy's the guy. It's not Sammy's fault that Cody tore his titty and just got put on the shelf since last year. And then Sami rose to prominence there. It's unfortunate for Cody, but don't get injured. Turn the injury sliders down. Work harder to stay in better shape, to not injure yourself, so you can stay on television. Because when you're off television, you lose your spot to a guy like Sami Zayn and his beautiful beard and his beautiful face and his beautiful voice. And now Cody's he's got to wait his turn. That's just how it works, Jensen. He's got to wait his turn.
Yeah. Remember what happened the first time Sami Zayn showed up on Raw ever?
Yeah, he hurt himself too.
Yeah,
and he got put on the back burner, and he had to wait his turn, Cody needs to do. Thank you for bringing that up.
I'm actually going somewhere with that. Remember what happened when Finn Balor showed up and won the Universal title?
Got injured, had to wait his turn.
Still hasn't recovered. Listen, I'm concerned about Cody. That's what I'm getting at here. Is I'm agreeing with you, but Are you saying
Cody can't overcome this? Are you doubting that Cody, if he doesn't win it at WrestleMania, it's just never going to happen because he's not good enough to overcome it? Are you doubting Cody Rhodes?
I have no doubt in my mind about the roller coaster at all. At all. I love Cody Rhodes. I have all the faith in the world in Cody Rhodes. I don't have faith in Vincent Kennedy McMahon and whatever's going on in the WWE.
It's not him.
It's
not him.
It's not him. It's not him. Okay.
It's Triple H.
Yeah. To a degree it is. Listen, if Vince is back, Vince is back. I don't care what other people are saying. Vince is back. Vince is back. If he at any moment, that dude could walk right into the creative room and be like, you got to listen to me whether you like it or not. So once again, I have my concerns. I think they got to stick with Cody. But listen, what they've done with Sami Zayn is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. And to see where he was, last year at WrestleMania was the Johnny Knoxville match, right?
Yeah,
which was like, listen, people love the match. I'm not knocking the match. I'm just saying to go from like a Looney Tunes style, not comedy-ish type. We had a Jackass match with Johnny Knoxville last year at WrestleMania. This year, a year later, we're talking about, should this guy be the WWE champion and beat Roman Reigns, who hasn't lost or been pinned in like 3 years or whatever?
That's how good of a performer he is.
I'm once again, Jeremy, I'm agreeing with you.
What happened when Cody Rhodes had to do Looney Tunes stuff with Stardust? He had to take his ball and go to AEW for years to reinvent himself. Sami Zayn did that shit in less than a year while staying in WWE, re-signing with WWE. Cody went and cried in the minor leagues.
Okay, Jeremy, I know you're just trying to trigger me at this point. Tinfoil Tyrant in the chat says, I don't have faith in the Hyrule Husky no mo. That's a deep cut. Hyrule Husky was that was his old personal Twitter account. I have faith. I have faith. Cody, the American Nightmare, is getting this done. He's getting this done. Once again, Saturday afternoon, I'm meeting Joey Chestnut, American Hero. Saturday night, I will be witnessing Cody Rhodes win the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble. I'm here for it. Listen, wrestling has more than one royal family. If WrestleMania ends with the royal families of Cody Rhodes and Charlotte Flair both holding all the titles, I'm here for it. So,
Cody says Tessa B, Charlotte Final 2, Triple H pumps his fist.
I don't see Tessa being involved.
That ain't happening. No.
Thank you for the super chat though.
Yes, appreciate it. Let's go to our other spot.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
We're going straight to Japan with our.
We're entering to Asia, double Asia. Other spotlights, right? I think this was all. We don't talk about Japanese wrestling nearly enough here. So this is Here we go.
There's a lot that happens in the world of wrestling, but there were two things that really stood out this past week from the world of Japanese wrestling. The first one was Kazuchika Okada and Kiyomiya just beating the shit out of each other. This ruled because Kiyomiya kicks him in the face, just like love a good kick to the face. And this looked like a legit shoot kick to the face. And Okada just snaps on this man. And this happened at the Wrestle Kingdom Part 2 show. And he snaps on this man. And they start just fighting on the outside. Looked like they're throwing like live rounds on there and everything. It was like these guys are professional. It was very controlled. It was to set up a match. But man, it looked so good. And I love this fire from Okada because we don't see it that often. He's very, he's the rainmaker. He's like, nothing really bothers me. So it's great to see that in Kiyomiya, who I'm not super familiar with. I don't watch a lot of pro wrestling Noah, but I saw this angle. It's like, all right, I want this guy. Okay, so thank you, SP3. He's gonna help me. Kiyomiya. All right, thank you, SP3. I need SP3 to translate everything for me. So Kiyomiya comes in there, and he's gonna face Okada now at Muta's retirement show. I'm looking forward to this match. I gotta watch more Kiyomiya. Again, apologies for messing up the name, but I'm interested. I'm here for it.
Yeah, and I don't watch enough consistently for like New Japan, but someone in the chat let me know, SP3, if you know. So Kiyomiya he vibes very much to me like he's trying to be like a new version of Okada in a lot of ways, like with his look. I just felt, he wears like the kind of the Rainmaker type gear, bleach blonde hair types, so is that kind of the story here? Is that Kiyomiya is kind of trying to like take over, like beat the Rainmaker and like become kind of the new guy there? Is that, because that's kind of what it felt like. But once again, I'm not sure. That's just kind of how it felt. But yeah, I saw the match, and Okada, he had like a headlock or something locked in, and Kiyomiya is behind him, like kicking him, trying to break it up, and Okada's just completely no-selling it. And eventually Kiyomiya just literally just kicks him in the forehead. And then what was cool too is after, they go off at each other on the outside, backstage, there's a clip of Okada like losing his mind, like yelling backstage as he's like walking around. And I saw a lot of wrestling fans, especially fans that I know that follow Japanese wrestling closely, that I'm always seeing tweeting about it. They were like, "Oh my god, like let's go, like finally, like it feels like a new version, like a breath of fresh air is being like breathed into Okada." It feels like, and yeah, so I mean, it definitely piqued my interest, and piqued the interest of definitely wrestling Twitter, because I saw a ton of people talking about it. SP3 says Kiyomiya has been called a younger Okada for a while now. Okada pinned him last year at Wrestle Kingdom 16 in a tag match with Tanahashi and Muto. Then Okada acted like he didn't even know who the kid was. LMAO. Oh, okay. That actually makes. That's how long I've been watching wrestling. I see a clip of these two guys, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if this is like the backstory to what I'm seeing right now. And that sounds kind of like what it was. I didn't know in detail, but that totally makes sense that that's the story. And is Kiyomiya someone, SP3, that like you could see beating Okada one-on-one? Like, do you think they have like really big plans for that kid?
He's the GHC heavyweight champion. So he's obviously like, he's a big deal. I knew they were on opposite teams at Wrestle Kingdom, the Noah versus New Japan show last year that SP3 mentioned. I knew they were on opposite teams on that. I did not follow the Okada acting like he didn't know who he was and everything, but that appreciate you, SP3.
Yeah, that's really good.
The extra information there. And he says, watch Kiyomiya against Kino from the Noah New Year show that had Nakamura and Great Muta on it. So everyone should go watch that. We should go watch that. But it was, the angle was fantastic. I'm looking forward to watching the match, and I might have to check out more Pro Wrestling Noah if I ever have the time to watch more Pro Wrestling Noah. SP3 says the result is probably 30-minute time limit draw. I kind of think similar of that. I don't think Okada's losing, but it also doesn't seem like it'd be great to have the GHC champion losing either. So a draw probably makes the most sense in this one. Because even when the angle was done, people were like, oh, I don't even know if like this match is going to happen. Like, it just doesn't seem like a match that they're going to be able to book given the title stature of both men. And then they booked it. So real quickly on their super chat, boo the non-believer in the code man. Why are you booing Stephen Jensen? He loves Cody Rhodes.
No. I think he's talking about people that are there's like non-believers in the chat, I think. Oh, what's his profile picture, by the way? Was that Jeff Jarrett with all the title belts on him?
It does look like it. Yeah. That's it.
Nice.
Speaking of the Muta, the retirement show, he's going to face Tetsuya Naito at his retirement match. He picked Naito. This was at the end of Wrestle Kingdom. He picked to face Naito, and then as the Great Muta, he had his final match teaming with Sting and Darby Allin in the final match as Muta, where Hakushi took a bump that he took like 25 years ago when they wrestled, and for some reason this man just decided to take this bump again. Bless him. Like the Great Muta, the final match with Sting and Darby. The man's old. He doesn't move too well, but they covered it up with some silliness with the, they had the stake that he busted Hakushi open with and everything like that. They did some plunder and some brawling and stuff. Sting still moves well. Darby's Darby. Muta, bless him. It's probably good that he's getting out now because the man ain't got much in terms of knees. He can't do the moonsault or anything like that. But you know what? He's still out there to put on a show, and he still gets a reaction. And he ain't the worst old performer that we've seen in the last year. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like Darby, obviously, he was like the workhorse of that team, and he was out there, he did like a drop kick to the outside, like onto a dude who was I can't remember who it was that was on the chair on the outside, just took a flat back bump on the outside from the top. Darby's
I know he obviously gets a lot of exposure through AEW, and he's become a pretty big name in wrestling, but I still think he's undervalued for what he brings to the table. He's a really, really great performer, in my opinion. Sting, I marked out big time when Sting was no selling the chops at the beginning of the match. Like he just standing there, just complete no sell, just taking him to the chest. So yeah, and then like the way that they play off of each other, like after the match, they're doing like the press conference afterwards, the interviews, and
Muto's in a wheelchair and shit.
Yeah.
Like
Muto's in a wheelchair, and Sting and Muto are talking to each other, just kind of as like old vets. And Sting's like, yeah, it's probably my last time in Japan also. And Muto's like, yeah, maybe, and like they're kind of talking. And then Darby is just kind of like, all right, Grandpa, let's get out of here. Wheels. Muto calls Darby his young boy, which popped me big time. He's like, all right, young boy. Like Darby, like, starts wheeling him off. And all I'm thinking in my mind is like, all right, Grandpa, let's get you to bed. You know what I mean? Like, and then Sting like walks the wrong way out of the shot. And I was like, these guys are great. So yeah, that was really cool that they got to do that match. And then, of course, if they're sticking to this, and the actual true final match is going to be Keiji Muto versus Tetsuya Naito, then that's a great match for Muto to go out on. Naito's awesome, so yeah,
it's great for Naito because I mean he had his Wrestle Kingdom moment, and then Kenta came out and kicked the shit out of him, and then Naito lost the title to Evil, which never really. He seemingly he basically never recovered from that.
Yeah,
feels like, and I know he still has had like big matches and everything, but man, it just hasn't felt the same with him. So I imagine Muto will do business and put Naito over in his final match. That's typically how these things. He put Nakamura over, so like why wouldn't he put Naito over? So I imagine that's how this will go. It'll be good for Naito, and hopefully it leads to a strong 2023 for him, because he's still one of the top guys in New Japan. He just seems lost in the shuffle a little bit. So this is a good spot for him to get this match.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Actually,
Mike Jackson. Yeah, Mike Jackson's 74, I think, and he's still tightrope walking around there.
He's on Impact Television and shit. Guys, remember, leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat, and you can be entered into our free drawing to be entered into the big prize at the Wrestle Rumble, the Royal Rumble Pick'em for this weekend. That's all you got to do. Just put Wrestle Rumble in the chat if you haven't already, and we're going to draw these names here in about 5 to 10 minutes or so. All right, let's move to our indie spotlight.
I'm going to give a big motherfucking shout out.
Indie Spotlight, Stephen Jensen from GCW this past weekend. It was GCW Don't Talk to Me. Gringo Loco against Hijo del Vikingo in the main event. We finally got Vikingo matches that were streaming after the initial kind of wave was not there. They couldn't stream due to, I guess, a deal with AAA. They didn't want the match streaming. Fortunately, it all got worked out. You can now stream Vikingo matches in the U.S. He faced Gringo Loco. Hey, look, we all know Vikingo is great. You've seen all the gifts, all of his the stuff that he does. He rules. He does some shit that honestly should not be humanly possible. He did some of that in this match too. The jumping across the ring with essentially an arm drag that he did, a handspring arm drag, which was absolutely insane. And then all the I don't even know what to call some of his like twists and dives. He did like a top rope poison rana in this match as well. He does a lot of cool shit. Gringo Loco, very underrated guy. He calls himself the base god, like very fitting because he is a great base for anybody, especially these luchadors who want to do all of this stuff. So yeah, I think Gringo Loco is very underrated. And if you haven't seen this match with Vikingo, go check it out because it's a great match, and hopefully you learn more about Gringo Loco from it.
Yeah, for sure. Gringo Loco is a guy who I first saw back in when I was going to Glory Pro shows when I drive from Nashville to like the St. Louis area. And so this was probably like 2017, 2018-ish maybe. And the dude has improved so much over that time. So many of those guys have, and girls, and everyone that's been I've been following, and Gringo Loco really for like he started getting kind of like a much bigger push and role in GCW around the time. It was probably around a year or so ago. They did I can't remember what they called the show. It was like GCW The World on Lucha or something like that. They had like a Gringo Loco Presents type lucha show, and it might have even been over the Collective Weekend. I can't remember, but they really started pushing Gringo Loco during that time, and the push has sustained to where he's become like a regular there. His finishing move, I think he calls it the base bomb. It's like a spinning sit out power bomb off the top rope. Always looks badass. And the guy can really go. I mean, he's creative. He does great high flying stuff. I'm always seeing him in like Kylie Ray, like they'll train together and stuff. And I'll see Kylie Ray always tweeting about like how awesome Gringo Loco is. And like, so yeah, I mean, the more eyes we can get on Gringo Loco, the better. And then Vikingo, obviously he's doing stuff like you said. It's really rare in 2023 for someone to do anything that I've never seen before. And that guy is consistently doing stuff I've never seen before. I mean, he's a generational type talent. He's one of those guys that if he can stay healthy and just get in front of get in the right companies, in front of the right amount of people, we've been looking for like a Rey Mysterio type kind of guy for a long time now that like really broke through and like was really different. And Vikingo feels like he could be that guy in a lot of ways. So yeah, shout out to both of them. Those guys both rule. And yeah, watch more Gringo Loco. He's been around for a while, so like y'all can find his stuff all over the place and kind of watch his progression. He's become a real mainstay in GCW, especially when it comes to like lucha type stuff or really anything that involves like him and ASF and or a lot of the scramble matches and stuff like that. I mean, Gringo Loco has become an important piece of that puzzle, in my opinion.
The one spot that looked just brutal. It always looks brutal, but they got the chair sitting up on the outside and Gringo Loco sitting in it, and then Vikingo does the dive to the outside and Gringo moves, and looks like Vikingo just eats shit on that move, and that looked like it sucked. Vikingo looked like the press slam off the top, like it was a super press. That looked like it sucked too. But yeah, it was a hell of a match. If you haven't watched it, go check that out. It's on Fight Plus from GCW. Don't Talk to Me. Speaking of cool chair spots, your indie spotlight is Adam Priest against Anthony Henry from Action, and Adam Priest regaining the Action Championship from Anthony Henry. I love a good just like chair throw, like old school Sabu chair throw. And there's a spot in this match where Priest just like throws the chair across there. So it's no rope. It's a no rope match in the ring. And he just throws the chair across the ring at Henry. And it just absolutely rules. It's like Henry's like trying to get in the ring. It's great. I love a good chair throwing spot. This is another very good match. Talk more about it, Jensen.
Yes. So Anthony Henry recently defeated Adam Priest for the Action Wrestling Championship. We talked about that match the week that it happened. That was a match where Anthony Henry like tied up Priest in the ropes and just kicked him in the face a whole bunch, hit him with his own move, the DDT. And in this match, Adam Priest got the win. The finish was great. He did a diving leg drop off the ladder through it, it was either a table or like a door, table type scenario. And he hit the Alabama Jam off the ladder. And it was a great shot. There were some really cool shots that I saw of that match that fans got, like where some of which like Adam Priest isn't even in the frame, and you just see him come from like the corner, like where my hand is. You just see him fly into the screen, like out of nowhere onto Anthony Henry and stuff. And yeah, I mean, obviously I'm a big Adam Priest fan, so like, and I'm a huge Anthony Henry fan as well. I've been watching Anthony Henry for like a decade, so like I think that Adam Priest has been kind of, if you pay attention to the scene, you know that he's been one of the best guys for a while now. But getting more wins like this just helps elevate him even more, I think, because it gets the people talking about him more, gets the fans talking more. And I think Adam Priest is a guy who we're going to see on national television sometime in the near future. Like, he's just too talented not to be in a major company, in my opinion. So this is the Action Wrestling Championship's in my opinion, one of the most prestigious independent wrestling titles there is. So for him to be the champion again and to get a big win over, a legend of this area like Anthony Henry to regain that title too. Really cool moment, really great match. Shout out to Action Wrestling. Matt Griffin and all those guys over there. We great product over there. Mose was on the call. You guys are going to hear from Mose here in a second in this interview. I have to clock in for my shoot job like right now before it gets too late. But Jeremy, if you can take over, making sure someone gets a wrestle, 3 people get wrestle on blind trees, and I hope y'all enjoy this interview with Mose again. You can follow me on Twitter, FightTalk_, FIGHTTLK_. Watch the fight or listen to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast every Sunday, FightfulSelect.com.
There you go. Jensen, appreciate you as always. Guys, we're going to enter in the names. It's your last chance. If you want to enter into our Wrestle Rumble drawing, just put Wrestle Rumble in the chat. That's all you got to do. Just put Wrestle Rumble in the chat. I'm going to do the drawing here in a second. And here's how this is going to work. We're going to do the drawing. I'm going to list off the names. DM Stephen Jensen. All right. It's at FightTalk_ on Twitter. DM him. Let him know that you won. Don't lie. I will tell Jensen who has won. So you cannot lie and say that you have won when you have not. All right, so here we go. Last chance, last call for the Wrestle Rumbles in the chat. Let's see. We're going to pick 3 names. You get 3 free entries into the Wrestle Rumble Pick'em. You saw the prizes earlier, $1,000 cash. There's some cool title belts that you could win as well. Our first winner, here's our winners. Here we go. Okay. Our winners are Jason Major, Cody Willis, and Merkel Maniac. Those are our 3 winners. That is who came up in the randomizer. Guys, DM Stephen Jensen on Twitter at FightTalk_, and he will send you all the information you need to enter into the drawing and everything, and to a free entry into the Wrestle Rumble drawing. Shout out to Wrestle Rumble, great guys. Absolutely great guy. Matt over there does a great job. Again, if you want to learn more about Wrestle Rumble, you can check out our interview with him in the link below. Speaking of interviews, let's get into our interview with our pal Mose. This is fourth time appearance on the show. Mose talks about Killer Be Killed Souled Out II, which ran basically at a bar. She had wrestling matches in a bar. It was great. That's on IWTV. People can check that out. We talk about that. We talk about his weekend at GCW, calling the GCW shows. Dave Prazak doing a moonsault. Nick Gage going to Sonic, which rules. The Los Angeles Lakers. And I asked him about Cody Rhodes as a callback to our very first interview with him. So here we go. Mose from KOBK. Hope you guys enjoy this one.
Welcome to the Creator Spotlight, the interview portion of the Spotlight. I am Stephen Jensen, as always, with Jeremy Lambert. And we have joining us once again. How many times is this? I think 4 times now. 4 P. We got Jumpin' Johnny Mosley, a.k.a. Mose, a.k.a. John Mosley. He is the promoter behind KOBK, Killer Be Killed. They just had Souled Out II. We're going to talk about that. Also been doing a lot of commentating, doing a lot of stuff in the world of independent wrestling. And a guy that is a friend of mine, IRL from Nashville. My days living there. So always good to have Mose on the show. How you doing, man?
Good, man. I was telling Jeremy, literally just got in. We stayed an extra day in Bama. Got home just in time to talk to you cats. Tired, but man, it was a really, really good weekend. Souled Out II went really well. Just been good times, man. It's been a good start to the year.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, speaking of, I don't even know where to start, because you have just really in just the last few weeks, we've had KOBK Souled Out II. Big action wrestling show where Adam Priest regained the action wrestling championship from Anthony Henry. We had you on the call for multiple matches at these GCW shows that were crossover events with New South, and I know you have history in that company. So I don't know where to start on this thing. Jeremy, I guess I'll let you start off with kind of what's on top of your mind, because I can really go anywhere as far as all that stuff I just mentioned. So
I want to talk a little bit about the Souled Out II show. Mose and I were talking off air, and I told him I checked it out, watched it today. And first off, I love the venue, the Cobra venue. It is just a bar, and it's basically bar fights, but in a wrestling manner. It's not just throwing punches and everything. They're fighting outside at some points. There's like a karaoke stage that they were fighting off of. It is fantastic. And I was telling you, like, it's very much up my alley of, it's not over the top deathmatch stuff, which sometimes can like turn me off and everything. And matches are a nice condensed, it's like 10-minute matches. The show was like over in an hour and a half. I was like, oh, this is so digestible. I need more of this in wrestling. You could do it in a ring, everybody, but like, I need more of this in wrestling. Just like hour and a half, 2-hour wrestling shows. Every match is, I like 12 to 18. This was less than 10. Like, it was such a digestible show. And I just want to say thank you for that. But my question was, how did like getting the Cobra come together? Because you'd run the Sold Out show before, and that was at TWE. That was when you had the mishap with the ring. This time it was a planned, okay, we're going to do no ring, and we're going to do it at the Cobra.
Yeah, everyone loved that first show so much, like, that I was nervous to run a show with a ring. I mean, literally, fans messaging me, telling me, like, every show needs to be that way, and, like, I can't do that. You know, I love that style. I still love all styles of wrestling, but, like, you know, I want a ring. Like, I want a ring most of the time. Fuck. I didn't know what to tell them. I just said, like, we're going to do it again. That was always the plan. We're going to do it in December, because our first show is December 18th. 2021. We wanted to do the 1-year anniversary, but as everyone that watches IWTV or anywhere knows, the TWE arena is hard to book these days. That thing is stacked up with multiple promotions. So we couldn't do it in December. Had to push it to January. And the Cobra came together mainly because of Hardway Heater. I have to give Hardway Heater all the credit on that. Like, the idea of us running in Nashville felt like a years down the road kind of thing, just because, like Jensen said, man, like, to me, like, Nashville is such an important part of, like, my love of independent wrestling, because I fell back in love with wrestling in Nashville at Southern Underground Pro, at a bar, having a few drinks. So it was a down the road goal, but we lucked out. Heater is really tight with a couple people at the Cobra. They were very open to us kind of doing whatever we wanted. Like, I think the only rules we had were there was stuff on the walls that were like kind of artsy, like, don't mess that up, and don't go through our stage. So we had only 3 people were allowed to bump on that stage, and they were Billy Starks, Sean Campbell, and Adam Priest. Anyone else was told don't do it. It was really easy. Like, I have to shout out the Cobra. Like, I really do. They've made it so easy, honestly. The only, it wasn't even a hurdle, but the only kind of like moment was the guy running sound for us had no idea. He had no idea. He just thought it was a show. Like, he assumed band. So he gets there, and it's us, setting doors over here and got tax. Like, and he comes up to me and he just says, he had a couple, like, on the stage, it progressively got more. It went from like, do I need to move this? And I'm going, do you like it? Is it important to you? Then you should move it. Because I can tell these people to not do this, but one of them might do it. Like, that's just how wrestlers are. You tell them no, someone's going to say, I'm going to do that. So we eventually got the carpet. He asked me, the funniest thing was, he goes, are there going to be any fluids? And I kind of was like, well, blood, like, there will be blood. And he goes, will it be spit anywhere? And I'm like, I don't think so, man. But, like, I don't, Carrie Awful's a psycho. Like, I don't know. And he said, should I move these carpet? Like, they had like cool little carpets down on the stage. And I was like, yeah, you should. I got help. We can help you do it. But we had a couple of naysayers that first little bit. A couple like, oh, he's wrestling. What is this wrestling crap? And then by like the third match, man, people were into it. The same sound guy after the show was like, man, I wish I could have hung out more. So I got to thank the Cobra big time. They let us do whatever we want. Glass was cool, obviously. Like, blood was, I was expecting to have a list of, we can't do this, and they were cool with everything. They wanted us to run a longer show. I told Jeremy that, the guy thought every wrestling show went 3 hours. He was like, we'll be here 3.5 hours, right? And we're like, no. So that went really well, and they want us back, and we're going to go back. We'll be back there probably before summer. We got our tournament coming up, as we talked about. I'd like to do that all in a ring, but if we have to do some no ring tournament matches, we may. Just got a lot of fire. Got a lot of stuff going on right now in the KOBK Fed world. So, and good things, thankfully. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, one more time for the Cobra. Like I can't thank them enough for letting us just run wild for a couple hours.
Dude, yeah, I mean, the show came off great. I actually watched it through twice.
Thank you.
Once I actually watched. So I recently, shout out to, I'm so late on this, but I recently got a Roku, and it's made it so much easier for me to watch IWTV and Fight Plus. Like just clicking just with that one remote, it's so simple. So I used to do, the HDMI to my computer and all that stuff just to, get my screen on there and stuff. But anyway, I watched the show all the way through, and then I watched it a second time actually while I was working today. I had it on like in the background while I was getting some work done, and it was funny because like the way that the show started off, obviously it was like really sentimental, and I want to talk to you about that here in a second. But dude, like Adam Priest coming out there, and within seconds, someone yells out, "Adam Priest sucks ass." And Adam Priest, with a microphone in his hand, immediately responds without hesitation, "Your mom sucks ass." And I lost it because he said it was such. He like said it with his chest, like it was just like dead serious, and just like, oh, that was so funny. But I mean, Adam Priest, what a year that guy has had.
Right.
It was great to see him on that. He sees this everywhere right now. And that all kind of ties together with kind of what I wanted to ask you about to start off the KOBK 2 show. You have, your crew up there, up on the stage with you. Brett Eisen is basically about to cut a promo about, thanking the fans for, being there at the show and supporting KOBK, and Priest cuts him off. And Brett and Priest have a match right there on the spot. I had no idea that Brett was going to be wrestling because he just doesn't really wrestle that often anymore. So that was really cool to see him make, kind of like a rare appearance right now, have that match with Priest at a show that obviously, for people who don't know, Brett's essentially, the leader of KOBK, the guy who kind of started the whole group, right? So like, and a guy that I feel a lot of the same way about as you, as far as like when I got really into Southern Underground Pro, when that promotion started, I was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out too, because so much of the wrestling I liked just wasn't available anymore, and stuff like NXT was like really keeping me in it, but I was looking for something different, and Brett being a big part of that company, and in my opinion, the most important champion they've ever had. Like his title run, I think, was like the most important run that they've had. So it was really, it's just always cool to see that guy out there doing his thing. And I know he means a lot to you in everything that y'all do with KOBK. So I guess, what was it like to be able to get him to wrestle on this show, your relationship with him, KOBK in general, and putting that match with Priest together, like all that, if you can kind of speak on all of that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. More than happy to always talk about Brett Eisen. Yeah, KOBK formed around him. Like, he is the core of it. It was me and him in a car. Proud to say, I guess we love Sons of Anarchy, so we always kind of like talk to ourselves and kind of that lingo. And it's like, we're the first two. We're the first two. Something I'm very proud of. Something that, literally, to see it come from an idea we had in a car on the way to New Jersey to now we've ran, 4 shows, and you're seeing Hardway Heater everywhere. You're seeing, Sean Campbell pop up more and more. Obviously, Akira signed to MLW now. Like, it's really crazy in a way. Like, it's hard to put into words because it's something that is so genuine, so organic. We're not put together by a promoter. We don't just see each other on shows. Like, I talk to those guys every single day. So it was something that I'm not going to say Brett, obviously he had to miss our 3rd show. So I don't think Brett, I'm not going to say he'll be on every show just because his body is beat up. He's been in this business off and on since he was like, I want to say like 16, 17. He's 34. So like half his life, he took some time off to go to go do music. He doesn't claim all those years, but he's been around it for that long. And even in music, right? You're touring and just he's beat his body up so bad his whole life. But that match honestly came together, and this is not gonna BS you guys. At the Cobra, we were at the Cobra, maybe 2 weeks before the show, maybe literally maybe even 10 days, like less than 2 weeks, and we were going over everything and what we thought. And I had Priest booked, and I didn't have I don't have an opponent for him. Like my original plan was I was have Priest come out, and we would do something with it. I'd figure it out later. And Brett just flat out said, do you want me to do something with him? And I'm like, absolutely, please. Like, what do I got to, absolutely. So that all came together at the Cobra so quick. I messaged Priest that night, and he didn't believe me. He said, what did he say? I messaged him and said, hey man, what if you have a match with Brett? And he's like, are you messing with me? I said, no. Brett Ison? Yes. You messing with me? No. He wants in. So it was really easy, man. It was, and it was something that meant a lot. I think I always wanted, Brett was always going to be there. I always wanted him to say something, but like you mentioned, to open that show with Brett, who means so much to Nashville wrestling, to Tennessee wrestling, and in my opinion, someone that the South as a whole may not ever appreciate as much as they should, because the history of AC Mack, we know how much AC Mack means to independent wrestling. We know that. You cannot talk about AC Mack without Brett Ison. You can't. Like, Brett Ison helped make him a killer, straight up, and that's something that the winner is always going to get, the love and admiration. But I can't. Those matches evolved AC Mack into. He was always a great talent, but it was something different. He could go in there with the baddest of the bad and not just hold his own, but come out on top. So I think, again, Brett Ison's a name that should mean more in the South. I know he does mean something, but he's just so important. So having him open the show, having that match, like you said, Priest is one of the best on the planet right now. He just beat Tony Deppen a couple nights ago, right? Like that. I mean,
clean with that DDT.
Yes. I mean, I was shocked. He hit that DDT, and I immediately was like, well, Deppen will kick out of it. I was so proud of him. That was such a great match. So to have them open that was really it was something that's special to me, because those are Brett, like you said, Brett's my brother. Adam is one of my best friends that I've made and met through wrestling these last couple of years. I mean, I talk to him probably once a week, sometimes more, just kind of BSing around. So that was really cool. I mean, it really was. That whole show was really easy because of the talent. I think it's always important to book. You just want to book good talent. I know it sounds stupid, but you both watch enough wrestling, not every promoter listens to that rule. And that's okay. Every show's, different, but book good talent. And I listen, I let them go. Like I told them, do what you want, don't do anything dumb on the stage unless you're those three people, was my main rule. Like, and they crushed it. The Kerry Awful Derek Neal match was, I've heard so many people talk about how brutal that match was. Sawyer and Billy was kind of the same way. I think I booked that match 8 days, like a week before it just kind of happened.
And they ran that back on GCW a couple days later.
Yeah, I literally talked to Sawyer about that, and she goes, they were on the way, I think, to the bar, and they got the message yo, here's the graphic. And they were like, okay. And I got to call that match, so I got to be on the call for both those matches, a week apart to the day, I think. Yeah, Saturday to Saturday maybe. So it was really cool, man. That whole show is something I'm really proud of. I'm proud of everything, but those last two shows, I think Die Young is maybe the best wrestling show for sure we've put on, just wrestling. But then this last show may be our best show, period, because, again, I'm proud of that time. 1 hour, 16 minutes. 1 hour, 16 minutes, start to finish on IWTV. We're still telling stories that SOB Nick Iggy showed up. We've got some stuff coming up with him. Obviously, him and Hoodfoot will be wrestling in our first round. I'm really proud of that. Really thankful for Brett, because, man, at the end of the day, Brett's the reason I'm anything in this business. I met him at the first. No, I had that back. I didn't meet him. The first show I went to out of college to work at, I edited and did commentary and filmed. I mean, I did everything. The first week I was there, I didn't talk to him. He scared me. I just said hi, but the next week we hit it off talking about MMA, and because of him, like I've gotten in other doors and I've gotten be around and learn all this stuff, man. Like I've only been around wrestling since 2017, but I feel like I've gotten so much knowledge because of him, because of Kerry. So yeah, I'm very honored that my whole story or whatever in wrestling will always be linked to Brett.
No, one more person that before, and Jeremy, I'll let you get the next question. And I had to piggyback off of this because someone that I think about when I think about Brett Eisen, I feel like is synonymous with that person for a lot of reasons, is Righteous Jesse. Yep. And Righteous Jesse was a part of the show doing some commentary, doing some ring announcing. So I want to give him a shout out. You know, Righteous Jesse, a guy that means a lot. I mean, without him, there's no Southern Underground Pro. Without Southern Underground Pro, there's no rise of Brett Eisen like we're talking about. Without that, there's no you and him meeting. There's no KOBK. Like I just, you know, and also I'll say this as well. And I wish it never ended. Shout out! People need to go back in the Wayback Machine and and find these podcasts. I'm sure they're still available on like iTunes or wherever. Kick Out of 2 podcast with Righteous Jesse, the Wilt Man, was the best independent wrestling podcast ever. And I think people should go listen to that if they missed it. It was like a moment in time where I wish those guys were still doing that. So I want to give a shout out to Jesse, because he's a guy we don't really talk about too much. Because he's really stepped away. And I know he does Danger Zone. Shout out Danger Zone Video.
Danger Zone
I'll give you a plug for Danger Zone Video right here on Fightful. So what was it like to have him as a part of the show too?
Yeah, it felt right. It just felt right. I mean, I can't think of a better word. That was another thing that I talked to him about that the night before. Like he told me he was going to come hang out. And so the night before we went, I hadn't been able to check out Danger Zone yet. So I went and I bought a movie. I bought Highlander, the Mondo Steelbook. He gave me a good deal. And I just, hey, you're going to come hang out. Would you feel like doing anything? Of course I would, whatever you need. So he ring announced for Hardway Heater and Hoodfoot, and Jesse and Heater are super close. Like they're like, they're like tight as it gets. So I know that meant a lot to Jesse, and then he called a couple matches with me, which that meant a lot to me. I think me and Jesse as a commentary team are really good.
I agree. Yeah.
Right. We know each other well. We play off each other well. We don't have an ego with each other. I would love to call more matches with him. I know he really just kind of just does ETU, which that's a fire show, and I'm happy he has that. I know a goal for him, for Jesse, was always to get be flown in for a show, and now he gets flown in all the time. So
expect the unexpected, by the way, for people wanting to
expect the unexpected on IWTV. Definitely check them out. Great company. But it felt. I just, in hindsight, I don't think it wouldn't have been as special without Brett and Jesse both. And me and Jesse had a really cool moment after the show. Cause like you, man, like, when I think of wrestling, even now, all the crazy stuff I've seen, I still think of Righteous Jesse screaming in a mic, Brett Eisen coming out to either Hail Mary or Suicide Boys. And, that's wrestling to me. That fight, they had Achy Breaky Hartford stuff was just the nastiest, grossest, like dog collar matches that the dog collar's off 20 seconds in, and they still like meet those expectations. So yeah, it was really kind of crazy looking back on it, how it all fell that way. But yeah, there's nothing, and that's where stuff started, right? Was the Cobra. So yeah, just a lot of stuff kind of came together that night, and it's something that's like, even now, we've hit each other up and been like, that happened. That was cool. We were able to do it. And now everyone hopefully enjoys it on the IWTV.
You mentioned Sons of Anarchy, and
yeah.
I'm going to ask, are you and Brett Jackson Opie? Is that a good comparison?
It's a great question. That's a show where like we've talked about it so much of like who's who, and Like, I think what's funny is like Jesse and Brett are more kind of Jackson Opie, like, because they've known each other. Yeah, they've known each other since they were like, man, I don't even like 12.
They're like backyard wrestlers together. As
Yeah,
kids.
I mean, yeah, they train together. Like
Yeah.
they've known each other their whole lives. So I definitely see that. We're more TMNT is our thing. Like I'm Raphael, he's Leonardo. We used to we both were Raphael growing up, but Brett is way more calm and collected. People won't believe that, but I'm of everybody in KOBK, I'm the hothead most of the time. So yeah, I'm Raphael, he's Leonardo, but we talk Sons of Anarchy, bro. That's a show we talk about all the time. Like that's our thing, man. Is we clicked over MMA, but it's like we pop culture movies. I mean, you know, me and Brett talk every day, but I would say 6 days a week, it's more about like, oh, if you watch A Man Apart in a while, because it's awesome. Oh yeah, I love that. Like it's very just like bro talk. But yeah, we're big SO. Brett Eisen, he's got a hot take. He says Mayans might be better than SOA, which he got me on Mayans and it rules. So we'll see if it ends well. It's kind of like Better Call Saul, the kind of thing. Like, man, what came second may end up being better, you know, on the whole.
I couldn't get into Mayans, and maybe I probably didn't give it a fair shot because
it
was different period of my life, and now I just have less time to watch stuff. I really enjoyed Sons of Anarchy though. That's a great show for anybody who has not checked it out. But Mayans is something that like I watched the first few episodes and I'm like, not really for me right now. So maybe I'll have to jump back into that.
I did too. I quit it, and he was like, "Bro, you gotta go. You know, you gotta go back because it's one of those. If you can get kind of those first few episodes, and then like get through the first season, which I know it's people hate hearing that, but like second season on, man, it is top notch, no joke."
All right, I will give it a shot. I got like 1,800 things to watch on my watch list.
I'm trying to watch like 3 things on Hulu, and right now I'm like, you know what? I'll just watch True Detective again.
The Bear. If you're on Hulu, oh man, The Bear. That's a show right there. Okay. All right, I got to ask this. Dave Prazak.
Please.
He did a moonsault.
Oh yeah, he did. You were on the call.
Did.
Yeah.
He did a moonsault. Like, what is happening in this moment? Why is this man doing this?
Dude, this is right after referee Jesse Fields out of nowhere stops Cole Radrick from doing a dive and does his own tope suicida to the outside. I mean, the New South versus GCW like team versus team match ruled.
Like that was something, man. Like seeing those, I feel like 30 people. It was a 6-on-6, I think. So 12. Yeah, it was 12 people, man. That was a nuts match, and it was. You know, he had told me earlier in the day, Dave was like, it's been 20 years since I've done a moonsault. And I'm like, that was all he said. So I'm just like, that's a weird fact I know about you now, Dave. And then sure enough, as it's happening, I'm just like, oh my God, this is happening right now. And like, yeah, I'm right here. And then he's the GOAT, bro. He does a moonsault and he's back in time to call the instant replay on his moonsault. I just like, Dave, you gotta say something. And all he said was like, it was better 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was tight, man. Like that's GCW is the coolest. Like it is. It's the coolest place. I mean, I love getting to do what I do, but just being around Dave Prazak and like drinking, you know, had a couple beers with Dave Prazak, and like I look over there and you've got Jordan Oliver, who's, you know, one of my favorite wrestlers, and been lucky enough to get to know him and like get to chit chat with him. And then it's just like, it's such a great atmosphere. Like not every locker room I've been around has the same want and love for one another like GCW does. So anytime I get to be in that locker room, it's super dope. I get to chit chat and hang out with Dave. I think Dave Prazak likes me, and it's like, it's so weird because, you know, obviously rest in peace, Jay Briscoe, with everything that's gone on in the last couple of weeks. I've watched a lot of old, you know, Briscoe matches, and Dave's on the call, and it's just like I know him, like I talk to him, and we talk about dumb wrestling stuff. But yeah, he busted out a sick moonsault from the second. Shout out that crew, like you were saying, Jensen. Shout out the New South crew. Like those guys tore it down. They really, really, absolutely tore it down. I couldn't be more proud of the New South locker room after that weekend as a whole, man. They that's a big stage, and you whiff on it, everyone's going to know, and they didn't. They did a great job.
Yeah, and a lot of talent that we're obviously really familiar with, and talent that full disclosure, Mose was a longtime commentator for New South, so he's super familiar with the people in this company we're talking about. But so there are people we're super familiar with, but in my opinion, a lot of names and talents that are really under the radar in the grand scheme of things. And so it was really cool seeing guys like Cabana Man Dan and Hunter Drake and so many Kenzie Page, even to a degree. I know she has had exposure, but like it's cool. Like her versus Billy Starks, I thought was real. I thought Billy won the damn thing. I was like, y'all really got me. But Kenzie Page isn't a good example. It's under the radar, but as far as like I thought felt really, really good in the show, and I liked the match with her and Billy. But man, it was cool with Tyler Franks. Like I remember Tyler Franks and Hunter Drake when they were a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For real.
Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights.
Yeah. Yep. So it's just wild. Donnie Primetime being Donnie Primetime again. Like it's
back.
The Carnies reunited. So it was
Infrared,
a really
bro.
Oh yeah,
Infrared,
of course. Tyler Matrix, Logan James,
bro.
Dude, and that's something, dude. The Mito Extremo and Cyclope, the two of them, I didn't realize even until recently how good they are in the ring, because they do death matches so often that like I see them do a lot of the same type of stuff, which isn't necessarily bad. I like their death matches as well. But when I saw them recently against Infrared and against East West Express, I was like, oh damn, like they can like really just go and just tag team matches, But anyway, those shows were a ton of fun. It was really cool seeing the talent, as you mentioned, for finally getting. I feel like we saw a lot of people getting a lot more love. You mentioned Chris Kronk as well.
Kevin Ryan,
of course. Yeah, man.
Braden Toon's a real seeker of the South still. He's young. I think he's like 22, 23, but he's in wrestling since he was like 14. And he shined, I thought, in that 12-man. So he's one I'd like to see get a shot. I mean, that whole crew, that whole New South team, put them in a GCW scramble somewhere else, man. Let them go.
Yeah, for sure. We're missing people too. Brandon Williams.
Brandon. I feel bad for him. He got hurt Saturday night in that scramble. He was supposed to wrestle Depp, and we legit thought he broke his foot. Like Saturday night, I was talking to him as they were putting this brace thing on. It was bad. Like I was nervous. Like this guy has a broken foot, but I think it's not as bad as we thought. He's going to be out just a little bit. I think they've even announced maybe he's going to be in Haas maybe for New South this year. So he's going to be able to bounce back quicker. But yeah, Brandon Williams, without a doubt, one that it hurts my heart. He didn't get that Deppen match because, as we know, Tony Deppen, he's the gatekeeper for GCW for sure, but he's a measuring stick for you as an independent wrestler as a whole. So hopefully Brandon gets that back. I know they announced they're going to be back in Bama in June, so fingers crossed on that.
Yeah. Also just this came to mind also during the Take a Picture event, because Cabana Man Dan wrestled Blake Christian, then a couple matches later, Marco Stunt wrestled Action Mike Jackson, and I was like, reunite, they might be giants, maybe, hopefully one day.
Maybe
I want to see it. I want to see
it. Could happen. I know they both would be down for it.
Yeah, there's that, and then there was also a big callback. You retweeted it, but we had the Carnies versus Bussy, and we had a throwback to the Love versus Love match, a classic Subgraps match, Southern Underground Pro. Go and seek that out from years ago. Nick Iggy versus Effie. There were some callbacks to that match for some real deep cuts for the sub crowd that played out years later in this GCW show. And you were there on the call. So I was like, this is just because me and you were watching that match as fans together in Nashville. So, yeah.
That was a cool, you mentioned the New South. I worked for New South for over a year. That's been over a year ago now. It's wild to say. I think my last show for them was maybe like August, September of 21. But I was there for, man, over a year. I love that locker room. So to come back and, like you said, to call some matches, you know, because I love Tyler and Logan. I mean, I have so much love for those two as humans. So to be on the call for that match, to be on the call for the Carnies, Carrie Awful has been there, man. Like my first outside of that little promotion in my hometown that I worked at Strata College. The first thing I did wrestling, I ran camera for Carrie for those Crux Tuesday night Twitter fights. I did that a little bit.
Yeah,
worked my way up. I think the last or second to last one, I did commentary. So like, it felt like a big weekend for me of like all this stuff kind of coming together. And then of course being on GCW, something I didn't think a year ago. I didn't think I'd ever be, you know, get the call up to Game Changers. So it was really cool, man. And it's something that like I got to share that with a lot of people that mean something to me in real life, which makes it always so much sweeter.
I want to ask about, because I've gotten messages about this when I'm
Okay.
trying to do my best to promote the indies as best I can on Fightful, do results and things like that. And Paulcade, you're going to be
Yes.
on the call for Paulcade, and
Yep.
like a bunch of people have messaged me of like, promote this. It's in April. Like, what can you
Yep.
tell us about Paulcade?
Paulcade is a awesome show where all the profits go to, I want to say, I don't want to get the county wrong, but it's an animal shelter up in Indiana. We all just come together. It's Chad French. He's the one that puts it on. He works for Paradigm. He refs for them, or not refs, excuse me. He's like a judge, UWFI judge for them. He does commentary in the Midwest and stuff too. So Chad put this on. I believe this is the third or fourth Paulcade that he's put on. And it's just something where so many people come together to A, have fun, B, to make some money for these animals, and C, just kind of put on something a little different. I know this show, we've got some crazy triple threats. I know Mance Warner is going to be there. I think Chad might be in a death match. Like he may be himself. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the card. I think they're billing it as an Albany street fight, is what they're calling it. Yeah, a new Albany street fight. Chad against Daniel Luck.
Yeah, Big D. So we'll have that. It's a really cool atmosphere. It happened. I want to say it's the same place. It's at these fairgrounds. So last year was my first Paulcade. It was when Heater was hurt. So me and Heater actually did commentary for it. And I show up, and it is, man, like we're just in like a horse stall. They put the ring right up there. It's a show unlike any other, and again, it goes to a great cause. Chad puts a lot of himself into it. I'll be on the call with Nick Manawa. It's going to be a really good time. I want to say they usually get it up pretty quick on IWTV. I would say within a couple weeks it'll be up, but yeah, if any chance anyone listening can make it up to Salem, Indiana, but like on the date, it'd be really cool. You're gonna have a fun show, but again, you're helping out needy animals, which what's better than that?
It's April 25th, by the way. If
yes.
I got my Roman numerals
April 25th.
correct, because I'm terrible with Roman numerals. It's April 10th or April 25th, in New Albany, Indiana. But yeah,
they didn't make a Rocky 25, so I don't know.
Exactly. People have hit me up of like, hey, can you promote this? Can you promote this? And like, I'm happy to do it, but usually people are like, hey, can you promote this like a week out type of thing? And this is all the way in April, and people are like, hey, I really want to get. I'm like, all right, cool. And I saw you were on the call for it. I was like, okay, let's talk about this. And I'm wrong. It's April 15th. I was wrong with my Roman numerals. Okay. It's 25th.
April 15th.
April 15th. Everybody, XV is 15 in Roman numerals.
Yeah, that's Chad. He's put a lot of work into it. He's tweeting about it every day. I know it's in honor of his father who passed last year. So it means, like I said, it means so much to Chad, and that makes it mean so much more to us. So yeah. April 15th, X5, whatever it is, please come check out our show and have fun with us.
It seems like a great cause. I hope everyone there has a good time, and I will try to do more to promote that. But yeah, I wanted to ask about that. All right, go ahead, Jensen.
Okay, well, it was kind of off topic, but kind of back to GCW just a little bit, because I know you're having a lot of fun doing those shows, and the last time I saw you in person was at GCW at Center Stage in Atlanta. Do you have any GCW stories that you want to tell us about, or just like IRL stories, like from, because the thing about these GCW shows that makes it so much fun for me isn't just the wrestling. It's like when you show up, it's like everyone's talking to each other and they're trying to find out where everyone's at, and like there's just like a lot going on. Like, so it's like I show up and I start, and even like I'm in on some of these at this point where like I'm like, wrestlers are like, yo, where are you at? And I'm like, what? And they're like, yo, parking deck, or like whatever. Like just start like people are just like all over the place. But it's so much fun being at those shows. I know you said you've had a great experience doing those. Do you have any I guess any stories of just like hanging out at these shows that you want to talk about?
I mainly kick it with Jordan Oliver, Cole Radrick. I'm trying to think, man. Like, the Center Stage, that was really cool. That was my first GCW weekend. I had called the show the night before with Dave Prazak up in Charlotte the first time. I think that was the first time there in Charlotte. But I'm in awe of this man. I don't know what I'm doing like here with Dave Prazak. So that was not my best commentary night. I know that, like, looking back on it, I should have, I should have been in there more with him. But again, I'm at the show. Like, it's that weird thing where you're like, you're kind of walking up to, to take a swing at the pitch, and you're looking around going, oh snap, like I'm here. So, that show, the Center Stage show, that was where I feel like I arrived for GCW. Prazak liked my commentary that night. What was cool about that show was we actually accidentally got Dusty Rhodes' old office as a locker room. Like, behind Center Stage, there's all these old rooms, right? There's just, offices and whatnot. So everybody kind of had theirs picked out. So me, Brett, Campbell was with us. Us three for sure. I want to say Cole may have been. I think Cole was with us too. The four of us kind of just took this room and we're chilling. And I don't know how, there for a little bit. And sure enough, Brett Lauderdale kind of comes in very like serious like. So I'm thinking already like, oh, new guy. I messed up. I did something bad. He comes in all serious and he looks at all four of us and he goes, "Did you guys know this is Dusty Rhodes' old office?" And we went, "No." And he's like, "Well, it is." And he just walked out. He just walked out. So we all look at each other and we look at Cole, who, Cole's the only GCW regular. It's like, do we have to move? And Cole's like, "No, we're fine." Like, but that was that, like, me and Brett and Campbell all were like, he's going to tell us we can't be in here. But we definitely got to kick it in Dusty's old office. I mean, we've went out, like, partook in some things that may not be legal in every state. That happened. As much as it is just kind of that, like, that brotherhood or whatever, you want to call it, that familyhood. Like Emil's one that he always hooks me up and helps me out, and that's really cool.
Yeah, Emil's the man for sure, and he actually does the intro for this show now. It's
does he?
It's his voice over. Yeah, you got to see the. I edited the little video that goes on top of it, and it's his introduction for us. Love
that's
Emil.
wild to me. Yeah, I used to watch him do CZW, and now he's like piping me up, dude. It's weird.
Yeah, dude, I see those tweets too when he'll talk about you and stuff. Yeah, I love it, man. And by the way, like, that whole family atmosphere extends from like the wrestlers to the fans too. Cause even at Center Stage, it was one of the funniest things to me, because as I was leaving the show, you know how that parking deck, it's like this narrow little parking deck, but it goes like down, and so it's connected, to the building. And it's kind of hard to navigate in there or try to like you can bump into other cars and stuff. It's kind of tight in there. And after the show is over, Nick Gage, Jordan Oliver, Cole Radrick, like the majority of the GCW roster, half of them are just like hanging out, doing their thing, in the parking lot. Half of them are directing traffic. Half of them are high-fiving the fans on the way out. And it's just like, I don't know if like Brett told them, hey, make sure the fans have a good experience on the way out. Or they were just like I could just see Nick Gage in the back being like, let's make sure these motherfuckers get home safe. It's like,
dude, he, like I can tell you a quick Gage story from this weekend. Two quick ones actually. When I got there Saturday to Huntsville, Gage remembers me now. We actually he rode with us from Charlotte to Atlanta on that center stage trip. And we took Nick Gage to Sonic for the first time. He had never heard of Sonic. They're not.
What?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
They're
not very big up north. There's not many of them. So
I'm a fan, by the way. I like Sonic. So
yes. Oh, big fan. So we whip into Sonic. There's not a lot open. It's 11 or midnight. They're getting ready to close. And Gage, he looks at my wife and he goes, "What kind of food they got here?" And Haley's like, "Kind of everything. Like they got a pretty good menu." And Gage goes, "They got ice cream?" She's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "They got Reese's ice cream?" And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "I want one of those with whipped cream." So we got Nick Gage like a Sonic blast, and then the machines were down. We couldn't pay with cards, so we gave him I think like a 20, and I think it was like it was like I forget how she was going to give him a little bit of tip, but like a couple bucks back, and it takes a couple minutes, and Gage is eating this big ass ice cream, and he looks at Haley and he goes, "They bring you your change yet?" She goes, "No, not yet." She's like eating her food. He goes, "You want me to go get it?" And we were like, "No, Gage, we'll give him a minute." But then the same thing, this Huntsville trip, he goes, "Hey, man, let me ask you something real quick." I was like, "Sure." He said, "What's up with that rocket? Like, if you've never been to Huntsville, there's a big-ass rocket you drive by. Like, it's this Rocket City, NASA, all that." And I go, "Yeah, Gage, like, it's a shoot rocket. Like, that thing is real." And he's like, "Can I walk right up to it and touch it?" I was like, "Bro, I think you can walk through it." And he gets all serious. He's like, "Man, I hope I have time to do that tomorrow." It was just like, this is so sick, dude. And then he just told me Jay Briscoe stories for like 15 minutes. Like, you're right though. Like, that's the GCW like energy though. They want the fans going home every night. Like, that was the sickest show I've ever been to. I can't miss, like, anytime GCW is close, I gotta go. And that's felt literally all through the back. Like, we talked during the show when the crowd's reacting to stuff, and it's just like, we got them, bro. They're having a good time. Like, this is what it's about.
If I don't write about anything else from this interview, I'm gonna write the headline: Nick Gage did not have Sonic until 2023. It's the first time he had Sonic.
2022 to make.
Okay, it was technically okay. So it was the Atlanta show.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, it was the Atlanta show, but that's
technically 2022. Okay.
He was like, "Sonic," and we're like, "Oh my god, we get to introduce Nick Gage to Sonic, dude."
Nick Gage orders Reese's.
Yeah, Reese's blast at Sonic.
Threatens to retrieve change.
Yeah, you want me to get your money back? And she's just like, "Not yet."
Did you imagine Nick Gage just like walking in there like, "Where's my change?" Oh,
holding an ice cream cone.
And Ison was with us too. So it was going to be Nick Gage and Brett Ison both like, "Give us that money," and they'd be like, "Do you want the register too?" Like,
oh my god, the most intimidating two people ever: Brett Ison and Nick Gage walking up to you. Oh man! Shout out to that match, by the way. That happened in Sup for the most part.
Yeah, bro, for real.
I knocked Nick Gage that day. I gave him some knocks as the way. I was wearing a Brett Ison t-shirt and knocked Nick Gage on the way into the ring as he was about to fight him. So
great match. Great moment.
Yes.
I'm gonna move away from wrestling right quickly.
Okay. Let's go.
Give me your honest thoughts. Do not lie to me, Mose. We're friends.
Okay.
Where are the Los Angeles Lakers finishing this season?
They're gonna make the playoffs. They're not going to go deep in the playoffs, I don't think, unless Anthony Davis. I don't trust Anthony Davis to be healthy anymore. I didn't really trust it coming into this year.
Dude, I've been watching a lot of basketball lately because I've been gambling on it a lot. That Bryant dude is legit. Bryant is
yeah. He's been playing really well.
Yeah.
He's not that Bryant, but he'll do.
Well, no, but no, of course.
Yeah.
It's big shoes to fill having that name on the Lakers. I get that, but but no, like I take his over pretty often on the stuff that I'm on, and like that dude actually has some really good games. I'm just throwing it out there. Like I actually can get into the basketball talk just a little bit now. I bought league. I've been gambling so much on basketball that I bought League Pass.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Why? League Pass is a terrible operation. Don't give your money to them. It never works.
No, it works great on both of my devices, on both my TVs. I got the dual screen going with both the games. Got all my. Anyways, we're continuing with your Lakers. Sorry, I needed to jump in there to.
No, man. If Anthony Davis could be healthy at all, I would say they could make a little bit of a run. But I'm going to say they make it to the playoffs, and that's as far as I'll go. I actually get to go. So my wife got us tickets. I'm going to get to go see the Lakers play the Grizz at the end of February. Yeah, next month, which is really sick. But the one thing that's kind of a bummer is he's probably going to break Kareem's record like a week, like it's gonna be that close, like a week or two before I get to see him. So now I'm worried, like I'm gonna go all the way to Memphis, and it'll be like LeBron's not gonna play today. Because for those that don't keep up, like LeBron James, every game is like questionable. Every single game he is questionable.
Is it a back-to-back?
If it's a back-to-back, he's not. No, I don't think it's a back-to-back, but he's still like. There's been times he's still sat out. If it's not, so you just, I'm nervous. Like I'm excited, but I'm nervous that like that's going to be the game we get there. It's going to be like, so LeBron's going to sit out, and I'm like, well, I can see him on the bench, hopefully, like something. But yeah, I'm going to say playoffs. A. Scott, Eric Royal, and me and him talk Lakers all the time, and Tyler Matrix. Tyler Matrix is a big Laker fan, so we got some Laker love going. That Grizz win a couple nights ago was pretty tight. I got to see the last little bit of that in the car. The bad news with all traveling I've been doing is like there was a stretch there. I was like, I watched kind of every Laker game, but like here lately, last couple of weeks, I'm watching more highlights than anything. And they've been winning some, so maybe I may keep that up for a minute and see if we can get a run going.
They got the Clippers tonight, and that's obviously pretty.
And so that's the one team LeBron James hasn't scored 40 points on. So I'm in the whole league. So maybe tonight's the night.
I got good news for you. The Memphis game, February 28th, I believe is the one you're going to. It's not a back-to-back, and they actually play my Thunder the next night. So good chance he probably plays first game, sits out second game. So it feels like you get to see him. I hope. I hope as a
thank you. I
hope you get to see
him. I'm not a thoughts and prayers guy at all, but I will take all the thoughts and prayers to get to see LeBron James play live. That's like, I think I've been watching him play since he was probably a junior or whatever, because we're so close to Ohio. Like I kept hearing like, who is this kid they keep talking about?
He played against my wife's high school team. He came in there and just beat the shit out of them. Yeah. Because I mean their team wasn't very good, but yes, she grew up around the area, and so she played. Or she didn't play, but sick. She went to the high school. They came in there when he was in high school and just destroyed, dropped I'm sure like 40 on him and everything.
See, that's one of those weird like. I think I was like 15 or 16. He's a few years older than me, so it's like I don't think I could have just drove myself to go watch him play in high school. But that's one that like I wish that had annoyed one of my parents more to take me, because that's like, I mean, I've kept up with that guy literally through it all. Like I'm such a big LeBron James fan. He's one that like I know he's hated. I get it. It's cool. I hate players. Y'all like to. It's fine. But he's just he helps the community a lot. He's not really been in drama. Like he's just a good dude, it seems, and just love watching him play basketball. So yeah, hopefully that works. That's a bucket list thing to see him live. So we'll see. And hey, I'm not gonna lie, like seeing John Morant live be pretty tight too, bro.
Yeah, there you go. And I mean the Grizz are good this year. They're
good. I mean I hear it a lot, bro. Where I'm at, like. I wear my Laker stuff sometime now, and I get kind of like the looks I get when I wear Notre Dame stuff around these parts. It's like you're not rooting UT or Bama. What is this?
I'm going to be actually go to a Hawks game on February 9th at night.
Okay, Stephen Jensen.
Yeah.
There we go.
I was offered. My brother, I'm very lucky. My brother trains a guy in his gym that like he's like his personal trainer for this dude, and this guy has like a really good. His dad is like, I guess, pretty high up in the organization. He just gives my brother tickets like whenever he wants to go to games, and I never really take him up on it. And now I'm like gotten really into it, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, start telling me when we can go to games. And I almost went the other night. I passed it up. The Charlotte was in town, and I was the only reason I didn't go is because I now have 2 favorite players in the NBA.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And
this is, you got to keep in mind, I have not watched since like Kevin Garnett was playing. You know what I mean? Like I was like completely out for pretty much since the early 2000s. It's been like 20 years. Okay. The only reason I didn't go to the Charlotte game because one of my 2 favorites, LaMelo Ball, is injured.
Nice.
And I couldn't go. That kid, I love watching that kid play basketball. Like he's just fun for whatever reason. I've become a LaMelo fan. I have one of his little Funko Pops, just got it in the mail. I'm thinking about getting his slime shoes. I'm all in on LaMelo Ball. Also, the other guy, I think the best player in the whole league is Joel Embiid. That dude, I can't believe a guy his size can just pull up with threes like that. He shoots from all over the court, and he's bigger than everybody. He's a little slow, like in comparison, but like no one can stop him. It's just fascinating. Yeah. And James Harden, the way it's funny because James Harden can take over if he needs to, but most of the game he just gives the ball to the whole team, just giving the ball to Embiid all game, and he's just putting up points and rebounds all game. So I have 2 favorite players, LaMelo Ball and Joel Embiid. For those of you out there keeping track of my basketball fandom as it grows here, so.
I can't wait to see this list grow.
Yes.
What a tandem.
I like LeBron too a lot too. Like when LeBron goes off, like it's really impressive to watch him put up like 50 points on a team. It's insane. So
you strike me as a Luka guy. I got to be honest.
I do like Luka Doncic as well. The thing with him that's so impressive is he doesn't look athletic. He looks like kind of like this pudgy dude, right? And he just goes out there and he just shoots better than everybody. I think he's probably got the best shot in the whole league. Some of those guys are, I mean, but I'm starting to realize like Joker and all these dudes, like in like how some of these just like elite, crazy, athletic dudes that the game's changed a lot since I watched it. It's a lot less physical, but like they're a lot better shooters. I wish there wasn't as many foul calls, but it's anyway, I've made this into an NBA podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited for Jensen's NBA journey. It's so great. Mose, last one. We'll get you out of here. Okay. I feel like every time we talk, you've been in a different setting. So, coolest thing in your room.
Oh man, coolest thing in this room. Oh, actually, I'd say the coolest thing right now. I got a Chainsaw Charlie Elite over here.
Oh, nice! I saw that posted online the other day.
Yeah, I got that through eBay. I got a good price on it. Like. Really wanted it. That might be the coolest thing in here. I also have, I think it's in here. Yeah, it's over there behind me. I'm working on it. It's not done yet. Otherwise I'd show it off. I've got the DeLorean, the Back to the Future Lego DeLorean. I'm like, my wife got me that for Christmas. Those 2 are pretty sick. I'm not going to lie. I had to wait. My stickers, she got me this DeLorean, no stickers in the box Lego. So, I got to a point where it's like, it needs stickers, but if I keep building, I'm going to have to So stickers came in while I was in Bama, and I can finally finish this sick DeLorean and post a picture, hopefully this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, the last thing that I have is you just kind of, if you want to elaborate just a little bit on Haley, your wife, man, like she's like right there with you for so much of this, dude. Like I've always seen her either at the shows with you or tweeting about the shows or retweeting stuff about the shows. I mean, what's it like having a wife that's like just ultra supportive like that?
It's oh man, it makes everything better because we get to experience this all together. Like she's not a big wrestling fan. She likes death matches. She likes kind of flippy boy stuff. She likes watching, Jordan and Nick, the East West. She really goes more for the people. Like she likes hanging out with, with Billy Stark's mom, with her kick-ass Becky. She's made a couple friends. So that's really cool for her. It's awesome because it is, man. Like she runs door for us at KOBK shows. I trust her with anything. She like, nights like Friday, right? I call a big show with Dylan for action. I'm exhausted. Like, she drives the 3 hours to Bama, to the B&B. Like, we both traveled a lot growing up. We both were in cars a lot growing up, whether it be family vacations, whatever. So we both are like, we just like being on the road. That was another thing that we kind of bonded over when we first started dating. It was like, we'll just go to Atlanta, for a Braves game, or we'll go to this weird museum in the Midwest, or I don't know. Like, we like to travel. So having her, I couldn't do without her. Like I said it before, I wouldn't be here on this planet probably without her and Brett Eisen in my corner. She goes for the food too. That's the thing about Haley. The thing about Haley is she's gonna find the best food wherever we are. Like, guaranteed. Anybody listening, if you need food, like if you're on traveling, you want to know where to eat, holler at her. She found like this really awesome soul food place this weekend. She goes with me to Action. She goes to Action shows to eat at this Asian fusion place next door that's delicious. Like, Haley's the GOAT. Haley, I could do another hour just on. She supports my figgies. Like, there'll be times I'll get in the car and she'll be like, I went to Target while you were doing commentary or whatever, and like found this. So yeah, man, she's to quote Mouse, to quote Robert Starks Bellamy, I suck. Haley's the GOAT, and he's right.
I remember the last time we talked to you, you were in the car and you were like, oh yeah, she just went to Target and got this figure and got this figure. As someone who loves love, I love your love for your wife. That is fantastic to me.
I couldn't do it without her, man. Like, I think, man, maybe like 1 or 2 trips total in all these years has she not been with me. Like, when I went to Jersey for Settlement Series this last time, she couldn't go because she had to help house sit for folks. So, I mean, she's always there. Like you said, supportive as it gets. Quiet, but she's got some zingers. She loves to make fun of Adam Priest. Her and Adam Priest. To quote, when Adam Priest sees me now, he goes, "Where's my friend at?" Like, he ain't even worried about me. He wants to talk to Haley. So yeah, shout out Haley. I can't wait for her to find out we talked about her this much. She's gonna be like, "Why?"
I have one more. I gotta do it because we talked about
Hit
it.
me.
When is Cody Rhodes, KOB Cody, coming to the promotion?
I gotta talk to my connects at the Nightmare Factory. But if I can I will call the show KOB Cody if we can get him. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Yeah. That is a complete. Jensen came up with that. I'm not taking credit for that.
Yeah, I did come up with KOB Cody.
Off air, we were joking around about it.
Gold.
So I was
Thank you.
Gonna have to sneak that one in there. Mose, thank you as
Hey,
always.
Man, I've been doing a little bit of commentary work with CDW, Nightmare Factory.
Oh, if Cody shows up, Jensen has got to be there. This is like the biggest thing in the world. If Jensen calling a Cody match, are you kidding me?
Yes.
I got you.
Mose, let everybody know where they can find you at.
Please follow me on Twitter at Mose KOBK. Follow at KOBK Fed for all KOBK LLC news, show news. We're going to be dropping some matches and some whatnot for this year. We'll be crowning a new champion. The Killer Weight champion will be crowned the end of this year. So please, KOBK Fed, Mose KOBK for all your KOBK news.
Guys, go watch KOBK Souled Out II. It's on IWTV.
Please.
Use the code Fight Talk if you're signing up for IWTV. Mose said it. I've said it. It's like an hour and 16 minutes. Matches are very fun. If you just like good, digestible, just kind of out of the box wrestling, it's a fantastic show. And again, you don't have to sit there for 3 hours and just invest your entire day in it. Go check it out. Go support. We appreciate that when Mose is always on here with us.
Please.
And guys, thank you for watching. We'll be right back here on the Spotlight. We're back. Thank you to Mose for hanging out with us for an hour, talking about KOBK, talking about his time at GCW this past weekend, talking about Dave Prazak and his moonsault, road stories with Nick Gage, a bunch of other fun stuff. Mose is fantastic. Everyone, again, go check out KOBK Souled Out II. It's on IWTV right now. Check that show out. Guys, we'll be back next week with a new episode of the Spotlight. We already have our guest booked. It is a returning guest alongside a new guest, a new entrant into the Spotlight. I don't like teasing things too much until we record the interview, it's all said and done and things like that. But assuming this stays scheduled, everything goes through, very much looking forward to this. Very much looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it, but it's a good get, I think, for us. It'll be fun. And then so that'll be next week. We'll talk about all the world in wrestling. I'm sure plenty of the Rumble fallout, everything else happening. What else is there? Head over to FightfulOverbooked.com here shortly. Joel Pearl and the Pro Wrestling Torch we'll do a Royal Rumble preview show that'll be live at 1 p.m. Eastern. There's our Royal Rumble betting odds preview show up right now. There's a bunch of other fun stuff on Fightful Overbook, coexisting with Rob and Maggie tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. Right here on this channel is Day After Dynamite with Will Washington at 3 p.m. Eastern. Reviewing last night's Dynamite with a guest. I don't know who it'll be. I know there were some friends in attendance last night, so maybe Will has one of them on. So that'll be that at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on this channel. Sign up to Fightful Select. Go to Fightful.com. Check out all the stories. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate all the support. Guys, we'll talk to you next week right here. You know what? One last thing. Once again, shout out to Wrestle Rumble. Everyone sign up to Wrestle Rumble. Play the Royal Rumble Pick'em contest. You win money. You also can win cool title belts and various prizes. So they've been great to us, just Fightful in general over the years, and great to myself and Jensen as well. And check out the interview we did with Matt last year to learn more about Wrestle Rumble and just how great of a guy Matt is. We tell a story of how he kind of saved a trip to Chicago for All Out Weekend in 2021. So go check that out. Appreciate all y'all. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll talk to y'all next week. Bye, everybody.